This is a good opportunity for you to stabilize your foundation. Lin Shuehua said, as long as you have a firm foundation in the group, even if it is in the future, if your father gives Li Xin to someone else, you will not be passively beaten up. Lin Jiangyue perked up when he heard this. Lin Shuehua was right. Although he was Lin Baixin's most beloved son, no one could clearly explain what would happen in the future. If an accident really happened, Lin Baixin would give his property to other children. Then it would be very difficult for Lin Jiangyue to accomplish anything. On the other side, Zhou Hao also received a call from Enai Yongxiao. It's settled? Hee, good. Then help me thank that friend of yours in Taiwan. I'll return the money you transferred to him immediately. Next, everything will go according to plan. In his previous life, Zhou Hao had read Lin Baixin's life introduction, so he knew that he had something to do with the famous Taiwanese Zhuang Yuquan corruption case in 1997. The general situation was that Lin Baixin had come to Taiwan to invest at that time, and during the land acquisition process, he had bribed Zhuang Yuquan, the local director of Taipei County. Thus, when Lin Baixin arrived in Taiwan in December 1997, he was immediately arrested by the Taiwan authorities and detained for a year. At that time, Lin Baixin had paid a bail of 40 million new Taiwan dollars to the Taiwanese authorities and set a record of the highest bail in the history of Taiwan's judicial system. It was August 1997, and there were still a few months before Lin Baixin arrived in Taiwan in December. Zhou Hao did not have such good patience. Therefore, he made use of Enai Yongxiao and Xiang Huaqiang's influence in Taiwan to get someone to report Zhuang Yuquan for accepting bribes, and then drag Lin Baixin out. After that, Zhuang Yuquan purposely called Lin Baixin. He wanted to lure him to Taiwan and have the Taiwan authorities arrest him. With this, Lin Baixin would not be able to return to Hong Kong for a long time. Without this old fox who had been rolling around in the business world for decades, Zhou Hao would not have so much pressure to deal with the Lin family. After the call with Enai Yongxiao, Zhou Hao saw Situ Jinying walk in. Su Lin and Wang Shijuan were not in the study room. Situ Jinying jumped over and jumped into Zhou Hao's arms. She hooked his neck and kissed him on the face without saying a word until Zhou Hao drooled. Zhou Hao did not want to be polite with this precocious girl. He directly lifted the bottom of her loose t-shirt and reached in with one hand. What's wrong, little demoness? Older sister Su Lin and Shijuan are listening to classical music and reading essays. I'm bored to death. I want you to go out and play with me. Situ Jinying pouted and said. Su Lin and Wang Shijuan belonged to the type of quiet girls. Their hobbies were also filled with an artistic atmosphere. But Situ Jinying was the exact opposite. She was a person who could not calm down. If he wanted her to calm down, she would definitely fall asleep if she did not finish reading the 2 lines. It was no wonder Su Lin and Wang Shijuan were bored with her. Actually, Zhou Hao also liked to listen to music and read novels. However, this depended on his mood, and he had to have that leisure time. He only heard him smile at Situ Jinying and say, then quickly go and change your clothes. I'll accompany you out for a walk. He knew that Situ Jinying preferred crowded places like disco or bar karaoke, and these places had the most number of entertainment places in Hong Kong. While Situ Jinying happily went to change her clothes, Zhou Hao went to the living room to see Su Lin and Wang Shijuan. Sure enough, the gentle music of Bandarui was playing in the living room. Su Lin and Wang Shijuan sat on the sofa respectively. One of them was holding Zhang Ailing's episode, while the other was holding Yi Shu's episode. The expressions on their faces were very satisfied. Su Lin, Shijuan, Jinying and I are going out for a walk. Do you guys want to go together? Zhou Hao asked. You guys can go. Shijuan and I will not go. Su Lin looked up and said. Wang Shijuan also nodded. Situ Jinying had also changed her clothes and came down. She was wearing the denim shorts and a yellow suspender shirt that Zhou Hao had accompanied her to buy 2 days ago. Situ Jinying's figure was originally much more voluptuous than her peers. Now that she was wearing this cool outfit, it became even more dazzling, especially that half of her chest that was exposed, which formed an alluring gully, and his pair of white thighs, which were glowing red, were simply a piece of delicious meat in the eyes of all the perverts. If you dress like this and go out, aren't you afraid of being haunted by wild bees and butterflies? Zhou Hao said with a bitter smile. What does it matter if you are by my side? Situ Jinying said as if it was a matter of course. Regarding this, Zhou Hao could only shake his head and smile bitterly. After that, he drove the Porsche and drove Situ Jinying to the downtown area of Hong Kong. Zhou Hao opened the hood of the car and Situ Jinying raised her hands and shouted, Yay! The clear night wind blew her shirt and made her breasts that were tightly wrapped around her chest appear. Zhou Hao's hand also could not help but cross the gap and touch Situ Jinying's ample thigh. He rubbed it back and forth, feeling the elasticity and smoothness within. Situ Jianying did not stop him. Instead, she looked at Zhou Hao with a pair of watery and charming eyes, as if encouraging him to be more unscrupulous. After all, they were on the road. Zhou Hao did not do anything in the end to avoid any accidents. Zhou Hao brought Situ Jianying to Sui Sha Sui because there were many bars, discs, and other entertainment places there. He chose one of the larger ones. The two of them held hands and walked in. The lights in the disco were dazzling, and the music was also very explosive. It could make people's bodies involuntarily move according to the rhythm of the music. 1. After drinking 2 glasses at the bar counter, Situ Jianying pulled Zhou Hao to the wide dance floor in the middle. Once Situ Jianying entered, the surrounding young men all whistled and cheered for her beautiful face and seductive figure. However, Situ Jianying did not pay attention to them and started dancing with Zhou Hao as if there was no one else around. Speaking of dancing, Zhou Hao was really not very good at it. At most, he would only move a few times with the music, so he would not make a fool of himself. However, Situ Jianying was very familiar with dancing. She had not received any formal dance training either. However, that dance was very moving, especially when it could vividly display her figure. It was a bit like the Thunder Ghost dance that Zhou Hao had seen on variety shows in his previous life. Situ Jianying's hot and sexy dance made the surrounding young men even more excited. Furthermore, Situ Jianying even deliberately danced close to Zhou Hao, so that her chest, waist, and legs were tightly pressed against Zhou Hao. At the same time, the dance also brought Zhou Hao a very soul-stirring enjoyment. Under the colorful hallucinatory lights and deafening music, even though Situ Jianying danced until she was drenched in sweat, her face still revealed a look of enjoyment and excitement, which unknowingly infected Zhou Hao. After half an hour of revelry, Zhou Hao pulled Situ Jianying, who was extremely tired, down from the dance floor and sat at the bar to rest. He pressed his body against Situ Jianying's and wiped the sweat off her forehead. Zhou Hao smiled and said, "I didn't know that you dance so well. Have you learned it before?" Situ Jianying smiled and said, "It's just that I used to play with the videos at home. I don't know what kind of arrangement there is, but I really enjoyed dancing just now." She was originally beautiful and moving, and today she wore such a cool and sexy dress. In addition to that moving dance just now, it made people feel that she was a fashionable young man walking at the front of the fashion line. Not long after she sat down, 5 or 6 fashionable young men came over to chat with her. But every time, she hugged Zhou Hao's arm and said, "No need. I already have a boyfriend." Every time those young men were depressed, they would look at Zhou Hao with envy and jealousy. Situ Jianying's performance made Zhou Hao very satisfied. Although this girl's dressing was a little revealing and her character was outwardly lively, she was stubborn from the bottom of her heart. She was very loyal to Zhou Hao. After coming out of disco, Situ Jianying was not satisfied yet. She wanted to go somewhere else with Zhou Hao to have fun. At the same time, a swaying figure walked from behind and was about to hit Situ Jianying. Zhou Hao quickly pulled Situ Jianying away. That figure also knew that he almost hit someone. So he turned around and said to Zhou Hao and Situ Jianying, "Sorry." The person was wearing an old suit. His hair was not long, but it was a little messy. His face was covered with a layer of oil, and there was a thick beard under his arm and chin. Clearly, he had not tidied up for some time. Zhou Hao felt that this person was somewhat familiar, and he didn't know where he had seen him before. However, this man's eyes were lifeless, and his expression was dispirited. He looked embarrassed. After apologizing, he didn't pay attention to Zhou Hao and Situ Jianying. He stumbled towards an ordinary residential building over there. Situ Jianying looked at the man's back and said angrily, "That drunkard is so annoying." Zhou Hao also saw that the man had drunk and his eyes were full of worry, as if he was depressed. Since he felt that the man looked familiar, Zhou Hao was also a little curious. He held Situ Jianying's hand and followed the man, neither too far nor too close. Following the man, Zhou Hao and Situ Jianying walked into the residential building. They found that the man went to a unit on the 5th floor, and there were 2 tall and strong men guarding the entrance of the unit. One of the strong men smiled when he saw the man. "Huh, isn't that our great writer, the great screenwriter?" He pressed down on the man's shoulder. "I say, great writer, you seem to still owe our big brother a sum of money, right? Why are you here again?" The man said, "I only wanted to come here to pay your big brother back. That's why I wanted to take a gamble. I was afraid that you would lose your last hope." Another strong man sneered. The man took out a stack of HKD and waved it in front of the 2 brawny men. "What, don't you want to do business with me?" The 2 muscular men were stunned when they saw the stack of HKD in the man's hand. They looked at each other and opened the door for the man. The moment they opened the door, Zhou Hao, who was hiding at the staircase, saw through the gap in the door that there were many people shouting loudly in the unit. One look, and one could tell that this unit was actually an underground casino. After the door was opened, the man immediately walked in. His footsteps were no longer swaying, as if the atmosphere in the casino had made him 100 times more energetic. He even woke up from his drunken stupor. Seeing the man walk into the underground casino, Zhou Hao held Situ Jianying's hand and said, "Let's go too." The two of them walked out of the staircase and went straight to the unit. When the two strong men guarding the door saw the sexy Situ Jianying, they whistled at the same time and looked very frivolous. When Zhou Hao and Situ Jianying came to the door, the strong man on the right extended his right hand towards Situ Jianying's thigh. Zhou Hao lowered his left hand and grabbed the strong man's wrist. He said lightly, "Brother, please show some respect. Kid, you are tired of living." The brawny man wanted to pull his hand back, but he found that Zhou Hao's hand was like an iron hoop. He could not pull it back. Zhou Hao's 5 fingers slowly tightened and made a sound of the la sound. The brawny man couldn't help but bend his left leg and kneel down on one knee. His mouth kept trembling. "It hurts. It hurts. It hurts." The strong man on the other side saw that his companion was bullied and was about to move when he saw Zhou Hao take out a stack of new bills from his pocket. He immediately stopped moving. He heard Zhou Hao say, "We came here to be happy, so we don't want everyone to be unhappy. Do you understand?" The brawny man whose wrist was grabbed by Zhou Hao, who was trembling in pain, nodded repeatedly. "Yes, I understand." Zhou Hao let go of him and saw that there were a few more bruises on the brawny man's wrist. Zhou Hao also took out 2,000 HKD worth of HKD and handed them to the two of them. They quickly opened the door and let Zhou Hao in. After walking in, Zhou Hao found that this unit was much bigger than he had imagined. It could accommodate dozens of people to gamble together. This underground casino had a thick scent of the marketplace. The gamblers were all small citizens who had risen to power, and the air was filled with the choking smell of smoke and wine. And this place also had all kinds of gambling methods like mini casinos, except that the gambling tools were much simpler and crude compared to those large and regular casinos. However, no matter how simple these gambling equipment were, no matter how poor the environment was, the enthusiasm of these gamblers did not diminish as they shouted at the top of their lungs. Zhou Hao found the man from before in front of one of the dice slots. He looked at the dice on the table and the place where they were placed. He was very excited and did not look like he was drunk outside. Zhou Hao shook his head when he saw the man's expression. It seemed that the man was addicted to gambling. Otherwise, he would not be so excited when he came to the casino. Big, big, big. After placing the $2,000 at the betting area, he kept shouting. However, after the dice cup was opened, the 3 dice displayed small numbers. He was not discouraged and placed the $2,000 on the big. Zhou Hao saw that the stack of bills in his hand was less than half of what he had previously seen outside the door. Zhou Hao held Situ Jianying's hand and walked to the gambling table. He took out $1,000 and put it on the small side. "I will definitely leave after I buy it." The bearded man in the hanging shirt across the table shouted. 1, 2, 3 small. The croupier pushed 2,000 yuan to Zhou Hao and took away all the money he had bet on the big. Zhou Hao held the 2 cards with 1,000 yuan and looked at the man standing next to him with interest. He did not want to lose the 2,000 yuan card. The man also saw Zhou Hao. He noticed the mockery in Zhou Hao's eyes. Anger appeared in his eyes, but it quickly calmed down. "I'll buy it and leave." The bearded man on the opposite side shouted again. Zhou Hao looked at the man beside him with a smile, then put another 1,000 yuan on small. "Humph." The man sneered, then put the 2,000 yuan on the big and looked back at Zhou Hao provocatively. 2, 2, 4 little. The bearded man shouted and took the 2,000 yuan from the man and compensated Zhou Hao with 1,000 yuan. When the man saw that he had lost again, his face changed and he glared at Zhou Hao. It was as if he had not lost money to this casino, but to Zhou Hao. He stubbornly looked at Zhou Hao. After Zhou Hao placed his bet, he placed his money on the opposite side of Zhou Hao. "Zhou Hao, this guy seems to have bet with you." Situ Jianying whispered into Zhou Hao's ear. Her tone carried some schadenfreude, because she knew that Zhou Hao's gambling skills were unfathomable. Even the underworld boss of Xiang City, Wen Xiangdong, did not dare let Zhou Hao go to his casino. He even gave Zhou Hao the title of Xiang City Gamble God. Zhou Hao's right hand wrapped around Situ Jianying's waist. Looking at the man and the gambling table in front of him, his face was calm and content. As Situ Jianying had said, the man had a fight with Zhou Hao. For the next 10 rounds, if Zhou Hao bet big, he bet small. If Zhou Hao bet small, he bet big. However, Zhou Hao had won 10 rounds in a row, but he had lost 10 rounds in a row, and he had lost all the $30,000 he had brought with him. It was not a big deal for him to lose 10 rounds in a row. However, Zhou Hao had won every bet since he came in. He had not lost a single round. This made people look at him in surprise. Although Zhou Hao only bet $1,000 every time, according to the odds of 1 to 1, he had only won more than $10,000. However, after he won a few rounds, many gamblers thought that his luck was great and followed him to place bets. However, this casino had lost $200,000. Including the bearded man opposite him, there were already a few people in the casino who were eyeing Zhou Hao. As for the man next to Zhou Hao, he seemed to not know about these things. At this time, he was searching his pockets, obviously wanting to find some money to bet again. However, he heard the bearded man opposite him look at him coldly and say, "Great Rider Chun, if you don't have money, then get lost. The debt you owe our boss is about to expire. You should think about how to pay it back. Otherwise, we'll lock your door and pour oil on you." "Wait, I still have money. I want to bet again. I want to bet again." The man called Great Riding Chun shouted loudly. Finally, he took out a few wrinkled notes worth 10 yuan and a few coins that added up to less than 10 yuan. Seeing that he still had money, the bearded man did not say anything. He just shook his head. The Great Rider Chin looked at Zhou Hao again. Obviously, he was waiting for Zhou Hao to place his bet before placing the opposite bet. At this point, he still had to go against Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao could not help smiling bitterly in his heart. He did not know whether to call Zhou Hao stubborn or stubborn. After the bearded man shook the dice cup, Zhou Hao still put 1,000 yuan on the big cup. The big Rider Chin also immediately put all his remaining money on the small cup. But now, all the gamblers had followed Zhou Hao to place their bets. So this Chin Daopao looked like he was going to go against everyone. Without any suspense, amidst the cheers of the gamblers who had followed Zhou Hao to place their bets, Chin Daopao had also lost his last money. But he was not the only loser. All the gamblers had placed their bets, and the casino had lost more than $100,000. "Chin Yaohui, you're out of money, right? Then hurry up and get lost. Don't get in the way here." The bearded man spoke once again. At the same time, he fixed his eyes on Zhou Hao. Up until now, he was sure that Zhou Hao was an expert who had come to trample the place. The reason why he told Chin Yaohui this was because he wanted him to leave as soon as possible and not get involved in this matter. Zhou Hao naturally saw that the few spectators of the casino had already quietly gathered around, but he didn't care about it at all. He was still looking at Chin Yaohui with a smile on his face. The more he looked at this Chin Yaohui, the more he felt that he was familiar with him. However, he had never heard of the name Chin Yaohui before. Thus, he became even more curious. Chin Yaohui had lost all the money he had on him. Originally, he was going to leave. But when he saw Zhou Hao's gaze, he shouted again, "Zhou Hao! No, I still want to bet." The bearded man also became impatient. He put his hands on his waist and stared at Chen Yaohui. "What else do you have to bet? Do you think you are Lei Luo? Just by putting down your gun, you can be worth 10 to 20,000. And this." Chen Yaohui was also forced into a corner. He took out a book from his pocket and placed it on the gambling table. The bearded man casually picked up the book and started flipping through it. "What are you talking about? Legend of the Zombies? What about God's Blessing? Ma Shaoling? What East Fork and Fork? Are UF Asterisk King playing with me?" With that, he threw the book onto Chen Yaohui's face. Chen Yaohui quickly caught the book and carefully protected it in his arms. "No, that's not it. This is the script I just wrote. I'm confident that this script will sell for a lot. I'll put it here and treat it as $10,000, okay? When my script fee and royalties come out, I'll definitely return it to you guys, okay? Wait for your drafts. When you get your drafts, my grandmother will have another son." The bearded man cursed. "Are you leaving or not? If you don't, I'll F Asterisk King break your legs and throw you onto the street." When Zhou Hao heard the names Kuang Tianyu and Ma Shaoling, his heart suddenly shook. When he heard that the script was a script, he came to a realization. Could this gambling addict be Chun Shursan? He looked at this man and thought to himself, "No wonder I feel that his face is so familiar. It turns out that he's Chin Shursan. I wanted to meet him before. This Chin Yaohui should be his real name." Seeing this famous screenwriter who was called a genius look like he was in dire straits, Zhou Hao was also very moved, especially the wrinkled script in his arms. The script that was seen as worthless by the bearded man. Now only Zhou Hao and Chin Shursan themselves knew the value of it. That was the script of "I have a date with a zombie." Zhou Hao sighed in his heart. "Brother Su, it's true. This script is really going to sell. I didn't lie to you. Chen Shisan still said to the bearded man. The bearded man raised his fist. Damn it. You still dare to say it again? If you say it again, I will cut off your penis. At this moment, Zhou Hao opened his mouth and said, 10,000 yuan. This script is too cheap. I'll pay 1 million yuan to buy this script of yours. How about it? Hearing Zhou Hao's words, including Chen Shisan, everyone in the casino was stunned. Chen Shisan stared at Zhou Hao with his eyes wide open, as if he was still judging Zhou Hao. Did he misheard what Zhou Hao said just now? After a while, he asked Zhou Hao with trembling lips, what? You said this. This script is worth 1 million? It was not because he was greedy for the 1 million, but because the value of his script had been confirmed. Although he thought that Zhou Hao had never read his script and made such an assertion, it was a bit too reckless. He even made fun of him. However, no matter if what Zhou Hao said was true or not, Chen Shisan treated it as an affirmation or a comfort to himself. 1 million. I have still underestimated him. Zhou Hao smiled and said, 1 million, that's about it. Lunatic. They are all F***king lunatics. The bearded man raised his hands and waved them, then shouted to the gamblers in the casino, everyone, let's go back first. Today, our place is closed early. When the gamblers heard what the bearded man said, they started to complain. It was no wonder that they had finally found Zhou Hao, the Buddha who guaranteed their fortune. How could they let go of this opportunity to make a fortune so easily? However, they heard the bearded man roar, whoever the F***ck doesn't want to leave, I'll break his legs and never have to leave. After all, these underground casinos were hosted by gangs, and not something these small citizens could provoke. Therefore, the moment the bearded man revealed his danger, they scrambled to leave. Zhou Hao knew that they wanted to deal with him. He did not follow the others. Chen Shisan suddenly found a friend who admired his script, so he naturally didn't want to leave like this. Very quickly, all the gamblers left. The underground casino that was opened by 2 units became silent. Zhou Hao still lightly hugged Situ Jinying, his face still calm. When the bearded man saw how calm Zhou Hao was, he became even more uncertain. Zhou Hao had won so many rounds in a row just now, and he could be sure that Zhou Hao had won so many rounds in a row. Zhou Hao was no longer an ordinary person. 10 spectators surrounded the gambling table. Some of them even had guns on their waists. Seeing this scene, no matter how confused Chen Shisan was, he knew that the people of the casino wanted to deal with Zhou Hao and surrounded him. Only now did he know the danger. He couldn't leave even if he wanted to. He said to the bearded man, Brother Su, what do you want to do? Don't tell me that they want to do something to Zhou Hao after winning the money? This is against the rules of the martial world. The bearded man didn't even look at Chen Shisan. He stared at Zhou Hao and said, Friend, which path are you from? To be able to win more than 10 rounds without losing, other than the gamble gods in the movies, I have never seen anything like this. As the saying goes, 10 bets and 9 lies. There was no such thing as luck when it came to gambling. They did not believe that Zhou Hao's luck could be this good. They, who owned casinos, more or less knew thousands of tricks. This bearded man was an expert. Just now, the bearded man had secretly tampered with the dice in the dice cup several times after Zhou Hao placed his bet. But when he opened the dice cup, it was still the size of Zhou Hao's bet, so he immediately determined that he had met a big old man who was even more powerful than himself today. I am not a person of the Tao. Zhou Hao smiled. Seeing the bearded man raise his eyebrows and wanted to get angry, Zhou Hao said, but I want to know which club you are from. In Sui Sha Sui, small clubs would not dare to easily step in. Then where are you from? New Bill, 14K, or East Star? We are from East Star. A spectator said arrogantly from behind. That's easy. Zhou Hao smiled and said, in order to avoid unnecessary bloodshed, I'd better find someone you know to tell me. After saying that, he took out his phone and dialed in Ai Yongxiao's number. When the bearded man saw Zhou Hao take out his phone, he thought he wanted to call for help. He shouted, what do you want? Put the phone down. Zhou Hao just glanced at him and said to Ai Yongxiao on the other side of the phone, hey, I won some money from a casino in your Sui Sui. Your subordinate seems to be dissatisfied with me. Ai Yongxiao, who was on the other side of the phone, gasped slightly. I say, brother, you have to look at the time even if you're looking for me. Besides, I just got married and I don't have time every night. How could Zhou Hao not know what Ai Yongxiao was doing when he heard that? With his sensitive hearing, he could even hear Liao Shufan, who was beside Ai Yongxiao, asking who was looking for him. All right, hand the phone to them. I'll talk to them. Ai Yongxiao said helplessly. Zhou Hao smiled. No wonder. Anyone who was disturbed at this time would be very depressed. He handed the phone over to the bearded man. The bearded man took the phone suspiciously, leaned close to his ear and shouted, "Who the hell are you?" "I'm an I Yongxiao. Who the F***ck are you?" An I Yongxiao, who was on the other side of the phone, was stunned for a moment when he heard the roar. Then he shouted angrily. When the bearded man heard the words an I Yongxiao, his legs went completely limp. This was the highest leader of his club, especially after an I Yongxiao took the seat of the leader. All the people who opposed him in the club disappeared one after another. No one could see their bodies, not even the police. Although there was no direct evidence that it was an I Yongxiao who did it, everyone with discerning eyes knew what was going on. From this, an I Yongxiao's infamous name had spread far and wide in the underworld. The bearded man's attitude changed all of a sudden, and the fierce expression on his face immediately became as submissive as a servant. Yes, 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 boss. I'm really sorry, boss. I caused trouble for the club. Yes, boss. Yes, boss. Then, he held the phone with both hands and handed it to Zhou Hao. His face was full of a flattering smile. Mr. Zhou, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I have eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. I didn't know that you were a friend of our big brother dragon. Please be magnanimous and spare our lives. Seeing that the spectators were still standing there in a daze, "Stop. What are you still standing there for? Hurry up and apologize to Mr. Zhou." Those who were watching quickly bowed their heads and apologized to Zhou Hao. "Mr. Zhou, I'm sorry." Zhou Hao took the phone. "It's nothing. It's best if we don't bleed. None of us have suffered any losses, right?" The bearded man complained in his heart, "Boss, since you are the friend of our leader, you can go to those luxury gambling boats in the club that are specially used to entertain distinguished guests. Why do you have to come to a small gambling den that is full of ruffians and hooligans like us? Isn't this just messing with us?" All right. We'll leave first to avoid disturbing your business." Zhou Hao smiled and walked out with Situ Jianying in his arms. When they reached the door, he turned around to look at Qin Shisan, who had yet to recover his senses. "What are you still doing there? Let's go. We are hungry. Let's find a place to eat and drink." Qin Shisan finally reacted. He looked at the bearded man opposite him and said, "Oh, I am here." After Zhou Hao and Qin Shisan left, one of the spectators said to the bearded man, "Brother Su, then, about Qin Yahui's account, are we going to collect it or not? If you want to collect it, then go and collect it. It seems like he is Mr. Zhou's friend. Not to mention us, even our boss wouldn't dare collect the debt." Male 3 said. Another spectator asked, "Brother Su, what is the background of that Mr. Zhou?" The bearded man shook his head. "How would I know?" But Big Brother Dragon Head said that Mr. Zhou is his best friend. Whoever dares to offend him is not giving Big Brother Dragon face. You guys be careful in the future. If you meet this Mr. Zhou outside, don't offend him. It's your own business if you want to die. Don't drag me into this." After saying that, he shivered. When he recalled how he had shouted at Nai Yongxiao earlier, he still had lingering fear in his heart. On the other side, Zhou Hao and Qin Shisan found a large stall nearby. Situ Jianying, who was sitting beside Zhou Hao, not only poured Zhou Hao wine, but also poured Qin Shisan a cup. She looked generous and polite, which made Zhou Hao very satisfied. Bringing such a woman outside was a special thing for men. Situ Jianying was usually a little carefree, but she had been in the official's house since she was young, so she knew a lot of etiquette. Qin Shisan raised his wine glass to Zhou Hao. "Mr. Zhou, I was really blind to not recognize Mount Tai just now, and I even go against you every time." Zhou Hao also raised his glass and clinked it with Zhou Hao's. "Looks like you are also a gambler." "Haha, it's hard to say a word." Qin Shisan finished the glass of beer in his hand at once and began to talk to Zhou Hao. In fact, Qin Shisan's talent had been discovered a long time ago. The popular The King of 1,000 Kings back out of the pugilistic world came from him, and the classic I Have a Date with Spring. However, even though Qin Shisan had written a lot of excellent scripts, he still found it difficult to handle the situation in the Asia Television Limited when faced with the powerful and resource-rich Wireless Television Limited. Especially when he wrote I Have a Date with Spring, which allowed the Asia Television Limited to gain the upper hand in the war against the Wireless Television Limited. Thus, the Asia Television Limited placed all their hopes on him. This kind of pressure could be imagined. Therefore, the two scripts that he wrote later ended in failure. In order to relieve the pressure, he slowly became addicted to gambling. All the money he had earned in the past had been lost, and he had fallen to this extent. There are too many people behind the scenes in front of the Wireless Television Limited. Our Asia Television Limited is no match for them. Qin Shisan said with emotion. After working hard in the Asia Television Limited for so many years, Chen Shursan naturally understood the conflicts and grudges between the Asia Television Limited and wireless television station. It was simply a brutal war without blood. Apart from taking out their guns and killing each other, the two television stations were engaged in a fierce battle. It could be said that they were going all out. Although the Asia Television Limited was said to be one of the two major television stations in Hong Kong, it had been suppressed by the Wireless Television Limited. The most important thing was the funding problem. Although the Asia Television Limited was backed by Lin Baixin, the development of Lin Baixin's leasing group also required a huge amount of funds. It was impossible for him to split too much money to support the Asia Television Limited. On the other hand, the problem of talent was also a disadvantage for the Asia Television Limited. In terms of producing talents behind the scenes, the Asia Television Limited was not inferior to the Wireless Television Limited. Even the composition group of the Asia Television Limited was more powerful than the Wireless Television Limited. There was even more. They were inferior. However, the number of celebrities in the Asia Television Limited and their fame were far from the top celebrities in the Wireless Television Limited. The shortage of funds had resulted in the rough filming of the TV series in the Asia Television Limited. The props and scenes were very old. In the past, when Zhou Hao watched the TV series in Asia Television Limited, he had a feeling that the TV series in Asia Television Limited was too petty. It gave people a gloomy and crowded atmosphere, which was completely different from the open-minded atmosphere in Wireless Television Limited. Actually, I know that the employees of our company work very hard to do it. Chen Shursan unknowingly drank up the 2 bottles of beer. He put his hand on Zhou Hao's shoulder and said, I dare say that the employees of the Asia Television Limited are no worse than wireless employees. Hearing Chen Shursan's words, Zhou Hao also deeply agreed. Indeed, the Asia Television Limited's strength could not be underestimated. With the story they were about to make about looking for a foreign land, it became famous all over the world. Its deep cultural aura had always been incomparable to the Wireless Television Limited. Chen Shursan pounded the table hard. But what's the use of this? Our employees are working hard. Those guys above are disappointing. So what can we do? Those so-called higher-ups are all doing it for themselves. They have never thought about the benefits of us employees and the company. They boast about themselves without any regard for their own lives, just because of a little bit of success. Zhou Hao could tell how dissatisfied he was with the higher-ups of Asia Television Limited when he saw Chen Shursan's drunken state. In fact, Zhou Hao had heard about it before. Perhaps it was because he had been suppressed by the Wireless Television Limited, but the higher-ups of the Asia Television Limited slowly became restless. Every time they achieved a good result and gained the upper hand in the competition with the Wireless Television Limited, they couldn't wait to show off their abilities. Zhou Hao also knew that when Lin Berkson took over the Asia Television Limited, he had replaced a large number of the higher-ups of the Asia Television Limited and let the people who were in charge of Lee Sin Group to manage the Asia Television Limited. However, these people were not familiar with the television industry, and they had great authority in their hands, which resulted in the situation of outsiders commanding the experts. This situation existed in many state-owned enterprises in the country, and it was also the main reason why many state-owned enterprises had poor performance. It seems that after I take over Asia Television Limited, I have to change the management's blood. Zhou Hao was thinking in his heart. At this time, Chen Shursan put his hand on Zhou Hao's shoulder and said, Mr. Zhou, you just said that my script is worth 1 million USD. I know you want to comfort me. Not to mention that you haven't even read the script. I also know that this script is not worth that much money. But no matter what, I still thank you very much. Zhou Hao smiled and said, Mr. Chun, you don't have to belittle yourself. I really think very highly of your script. However, the name Legend of the Zombies is a bit vulgar. How about this? Since you wrote I have a date with Spring before, then this script might as well be called I have a date with a zombie. Alright, what do you think? I have a date with zombies? That's a good name. Why didn't I think of that? Chen Shursan clapped his hands and smiled. Mr. Zhou, you are indeed my confidant. This name is too good. Zhou Hao was embarrassed. He did not expect that the name of I have a date with zombies was said by him. He patted Chen Shursan on the shoulder and said, Mr. Chun, trust me. Asia Television Limited will soon regain its glory. Don't give up. Also, this script is really hard to change. Mr. Zhou, thank you very much for saying this to me. Chen Shursan looked at Zhou Hao gratefully. This friend of yours, Chen Shursan, admitted. Zhou Hao nodded. However, you don't have to gamble anymore. Only if you don't give up on yourself will I not give up on you. As for the debt you owe the gangs, I think they won't chase you anymore. He turned to look at Situ Jianying, who was beside him. He saw that she was already drunk and was using a tissue to wipe her mouth. It turned out that she had always followed her mother's instructions. When a man was talking, it was best for a woman to not interrupt. So when Zhou Hao was chatting with Chen Shisan just now, she had been eating the delicious food in the underground restaurant and adding wine to Zhou Hao and Chen Shisan's drinks from time to time. Are you full? Zhou Hao pointed at her nose.
Yes.
Situ Jinying smiled and nodded. Then let's go back. Zhou Hao smiled at Chen Shisan and said, Mr. Chun, let's go first. Chen Shisan had already regarded Zhou Hao as a close friend. Upon hearing this, he immediately said, When can we meet again? Zhou Hao smiled at him. Don't worry, we will meet again soon. After saying that, he left with Situ Jinying. Chen Shisan was still sitting there, staring blankly at Zhou Hao and Situ Jinying's disappearing figures. It had been a long time since he came back to his senses. Finally, he muttered to himself, Only I will not give up on myself. No one else will give up on you. You are right, I can't continue to be depressed like this. He clenched his fists tightly. He took out his script again. I have a date with a zombie. I have a date with a zombie. I want to write it into a TV series that has never happened in Hong Kong. On the other side, when Zhou Hao and Situ Jinying returned home, Su Lin and Wang Shijuan had already gone back to their rooms to sleep. After all, it was already past 2 o'clock in the morning. Zhou Hao originally wanted to let Situ Jinying return to his room, but he saw Situ Jinying holding his hand, and there was a sly smile on her face. I am going to your room to sleep tonight. Seeing her beautiful face and her curvy figure, Zhou Hao's heart skipped a beat. He followed her straight up to the 3rd floor where his master's room was. I was sweating from dancing just now. I'm going to take a shower first. Situ Jinying smiled at Zhou Hao and walked into the bathroom in her room. Zhou Hao sat on his bed and turned on the TV. It was the Asia TV station. It was rebroadcasting her classic TV series, The Heart Like Iron. This was a classic TV series about love and hate. Zhou Hao felt that this TV series was much better than many TV dramas from the Wireless Television Limited. However, according to the development of his previous life, the Asia Television Limited would continue to deteriorate. In the future, there would be less and less selfies. They would almost stop production, and they would have to rely on buying TV dramas to survive. They would be completely trampled on by the Wireless Television Limited. Watching the male and female main characters put their heart into the show, Zhou Hao sighed with emotion in his heart. He really didn't want the Asia Television Limited, which had once produced many classic dramas, to fall into such a state. As he was thinking, the bathroom door opened, and Zhou Hao saw Situ Jinying leaning against the door. Zhou Hao was stunned for a moment, then he couldn't help but smile. However, what Situ Jinying said was true. In Hong Kong, 16 years old was already considered an adult, and he could be responsible for his own actions. Before this, Zhou Hao had never completely occupied Situ Jinying's body. It was because Situ Jinying was still young that Zhou Hao couldn't bear to hurt her. But in fact, other than not breaking through the last layer, Zhou Hao and Situ Jinying had done everything, including Situ Jinying using her cherry lips to serve Zhou Hao more than once. Now it seemed that even though Situ Jinying and Wang Shijuan were the same age, Situ Jinying was much more mature compared to the petite Wang Shijuan. Just by looking at her appearance, many people would mistake her for a sexy young lady in her early 20s. Since that was the case, the shackle in Zhou Hao's heart was lifted, especially when Situ Jinying twisted her body and put her hands on Zhou Hao's neck, saying flirtatiously, Come on, I am not afraid anymore. What are you worrying about? You little vixen. Zhou Hao scolded with a smile. He couldn't bear it any longer. Zhou Hao nodded and kissed her forehead. He gently caressed her back. She held Zhou Hao's neck and moved closer to him. I know you might not marry me in the future, but I will not leave you. Even if you want me to be your mistress, I will not leave you. Hearing this, Zhou Hao's heart trembled violently. He tightened his arms around the jade man. I'm sorry, I can't give you a name. I'm sorry, Jinying. Situ Jinying shook her head. It's okay. As long as I can be with you, that's all. She suddenly laughed. People say that a wife is better than a concubine. Perhaps, it would be better for me to be your lover. Zhou Hao was having sex with Situ Jinying twice, and Lin Jiangyue was also fooling around with Lin Shuehua in his villa. However, although Lin Jiangyue was still in his 30s and was still in his prime, how could his endurance be compared to Zhou Hao's? In just a few minutes, he collapsed onto Lin Shuehua's body. You be *starred. Why can't you do it so quickly? I'm still at the top of the wave. Lin Shuehua pushed Lin Shuehua, who was paralyzed on his body, and complained continuously. A trace of disdain and disgust flashed across his eyes once again. I went to that piece of land in the desert to look at it for the whole day, and it made my back ache. Otherwise, I would definitely teach you a good lesson today. Lin Jiangyue said somewhat unnaturally. However, Lin Shuehua was secretly cursing in his heart. You fat pig. Normally, even if you take medicine, you are not my match. You are still pretending to be a man in front of me? Of course, she wouldn't say these words out loud. Instead, she asked, by the way, how's that piece of land in Shatian? Can it really develop? I've seen it. It should have a lot of potential. Lin Jiangyue turned around and laid down on the bed. He picked up a cigarette and put it in his mouth. Beside him, Lin Shuehua also took the initiative to light it up for him. He said, that is a barren land. It is very large. The development of the Shatian is getting faster and faster. If I can develop a high-end residential area there, I will definitely make a lot of money. If this project succeeds, my position in the group will be even more consolidated. Father will also think more highly of me. Then you have already decided to buy that piece of land? Lin Shuehua said. Lin Jiangyue nodded. That piece of land belongs to the villagers of a nearby village. They are interested in selling that piece of land. I have already found someone to talk to. The total price should be around 800 million. If we have a deal, we will pay 200 million for the first installment. That Lin Jiankong has already arrived in Taiwan. Lin Shuehua snorted and said, I think he must have wanted to take advantage of your dad's detention. So he purposely went over to play his relationship card and took the opportunity to please your dad. Lin Jiangyue sneered and said, don't worry. Even if he makes your father happy, he is still an outsider after all. As long as I finish this project, no one else can compete with me, not to mention him. In the end, Lee Sin Group will still fall into my hands. You said it yourself. When the time comes, you will marry me and let me become the wife of the Lin family openly. Lin Shuehua leaned on Lin Jiangyue and said. Lin Jiangyue hugged her and smiled. I know, I will definitely keep my promise. On this day, while Lin Shuehua was busy working in his office, Lin Jiangyue suddenly pushed open the door and walked straight to her side to hug her. He excitedly kissed her on the face. Lin Shuehua was stunned by Lin Jiangyue's sudden action. Then, he saw some employees outside the door looking in his direction. He hurriedly pushed Lin Jiangyue away. What are you doing? Everyone outside saw it. Lin Jiangyue was not angry. He smiled and went over to close the door. Shuehua, I've already bought that piece of land in Shatian. Hee hee. I have already calculated it with the appraiser. It is a total of 300,000 square feet, which is only 800 million Hong Kong dollars. It is much cheaper than the land sold by the government. He walked to Lin Shuehua's side and said excitedly, if we develop this piece of land into a high-end residential area, we can earn at least 2 billion if we exclude all the cost. Really? Lin Shuehua also revealed a look of surprise. This way, your dad will have a whole new level of respect for you, and the shareholders of the company will not look down on you anymore. Oh right. Have you already signed the contract with those villagers? Lin Jiangyue nodded. I have already signed it. 800 million Hong Kong dollars is enough to buy such a large piece of land. Humph. Luckily, I immediately bought that piece of land. Changjiang Industrial and Xi and Hongji have also sent people over to take a look. It can be seen that this piece of land really has a lot of development value. He sat on the chair opposite Lin Shuehua and put his legs on the desk. I've already asked the people from the Ministry of Engineering to clear the weeds and shrubs on that piece of land. After 2 days, we will officially start the construction of the land. I have to hold a press conference to announce this development plan. Did you notify your dad? Does he know about your development plan? Lin Shuehua asked. No, there's no need to tell him so quickly. Otherwise, he'll have to ask again. This time, I have to rely on my own ability to achieve results. Let him see that I'm the most suitable successor to Lee Sin Group. Lin Jiangyue looked up at the ceiling. Now that I am in charge of Lee Sin, I will be fully responsible for this development plan. When the time comes, I will also give my father a surprise. He stood up and walked towards the wine cabinet. He took a bottle of champagne and 2 glasses from the cabinet and wanted to celebrate with Lin Shuehua. At this moment, the phone on Lin Shuehua's table rang. Lin Shuehua picked up the phone. Hello, I'm Lin Shuehua. Yes, that's right. This is Lin Xinqing's development, Mr. Lin? She frowned and looked at Lin Jiangyue gently. Yes, he's here. Wait a moment. Lin Shuehua put down the phone and covered the phone with his hand. He said to Lin Jiangyue, he's looking for you. He's from the local government. The Ministry of Geography? Lin Jiangyue asked curiously, but he still walked over and took the phone. Hello, that's right. I am Lin Jiangyue. What? Our company is invading the land? Are you mistaken? Our leasing group has always followed the law, and all the procedures are complete. You said, it's that piece of land. What did you say? That piece of land in the desert? I just bought it. Your Ministry of Housing and Planning has already given me the approval. Lin Jiangyue's expression became very ugly. What did you say? You didn't receive any application? All right, I'll go over immediately. What happened? Lin Shuehua asked Lin Jiangyue. Those people from the Bureau of Geography said that I have illegally occupied the land in Shatian. Lin Jiangyue said angrily, this is nonsense. I have all the paperwork and documents. How could it be illegal? Shueyaohua, come with me. Thus, Lin Jiangyue and Lin Shueyaohua went to Shatian. They saw that the engineer they had sent had stopped. There were also some people in suits and leather shoes. They should be from the Ministry of Geography. Half of the vegetation on the wasteland had already been cleared. What's going on? Why did you say that I illegally occupied this piece of land? I bought this with real money and silver. Lin Jiangyue said angrily to the director of the Ministry of Geography as soon as he arrived. The director said, Mr. Lin, I'm sorry. Our Ministry of Geography did not accept any applications to develop this land. And even if someone submitted an application, we wouldn't approve it. Because this piece of land is for agricultural use and cannot be used to build houses. What? Agricultural land? Lin Jiangyue was shocked. He knew that agricultural land could not be developed casually, not to mention building a residential area on it. Wait, look at these documents. These are all approved by your Ministry of Lands. He quickly took out a few documents. The director took them and looked at them. He shook his head and said, Yes, Mr. Lin, these documents are fake. Even the seals are different from ours. He looked at Lin Jiangyue. Who did you do the land transaction with? Forgery of official documents is against the law. Isn't it the owner of this land? Lin Jiangyue said, Doesn't this land belong to the villagers of that village? No, Mr. Lin. This land belongs to our government. The director of the Bureau of Geography said, As for the villagers of that village, they do have land, but it is not here on the other side. Lin Jiangyue was completely dumbfounded. He could not figure out what was going on. Later on, they walked around the village called Phoenix Tail Village. But Lin Jiangyue didn't find the villagers who had talked about trading with him. Mr. Lin, there aren't any of the villagers you mentioned in Phoenix Tail Village? The director of the Bureau of Geography said, It seems that you have been deceived. Do you need us to help you inform the police and the business investigation department? Lin Jiangyue was just about to agree when Lin Shuehua, who was beside him, immediately said, No need, we will handle it ourselves. Looking at the puzzled Lin Jiangyue, Lin Shuehua whispered into his ear, This matter cannot be spread, especially not to let your dad know that you have lost 800 million this time. If your dad finds out, think about the consequences yourself. Lin Jiangyue was also shocked when he heard that. He had bought into the hotel at a high price, which was already sunset, and had already been criticized by the other shareholders of Leasing Group. Lin Baixin was also very dissatisfied. If Lin Baixin knew this time, Lin Jiangyue would completely lose his favor, and his chances of inheriting the company would be greatly reduced in the future. Thus, he immediately said to the director of the Earth Administration Bureau, There's no need to call the police. We will handle it ourselves. But these suspects forged the approval of our Bureau of Geography. Haha, that's just a misunderstanding. Just a misunderstanding. Lin Jiangyue smiled and put his arm on the director's shoulder as he walked to the side. Honestly speaking, I am very familiar with your director Yang. Forget about this matter. It was just a misunderstanding. I don't think you want this matter to trouble Director Yang. The director hesitated for a moment and said, But your people have removed so much of the vegetation here. You have to recover as soon as possible. No problem. I'll let them handle it. Lin Jiangyue said with a smile. Back in the office of Leasing Group, Lin Jiangyue finally exploded. He swept all the computers and documents on his desk to the ground and smashed all the alcohol in the liquor cabinet. He kept yelling, Damn it! Damn it! F asterisks! Lin Jiangyue was furious in his heart. Lin Shuehua did not dare to go over to persuade him. He just stood quietly by the side. Who are those people? F asterisk CK. Don't let me find that group of people. I want to kill their entire family. Lin Jiangyue raised both his hands and shouted. Lin Shuehua could not help but shake his head. I'm afraid you won't be able to find them. With such a huge sum of money, they must have left Hong Kong. 800 million Hong Kong dollars. Even if there were 100 people in the gang, it would be enough for them to enjoy it for the rest of their lives. Damn it. F asterisk CK. F asterisk. The more Lin Jiangyue heard, the more furious he became. However, he saw Lin Shuehua suddenly staring at Lin Jiangyue. Wait, that 800 million. Are you using your own money or the company's money? Lin Jiangyue had obviously thought of the crux of the matter, and his expression immediately changed. When Lin Shuehua saw Lin Jiangyue's expression, he knew the answer. It was a total of 800 million. Putting aside whether Lin Jiangyue had that much money, even if he did, he would never do something like paying his own pocket. Therefore, this was obvious without asking. Lin Jiangyue must have used the funds of Lee Sin Group. That's bad. If the people in the group found out, your dad would definitely know that paper can't cover fire. I don't know about that. Lin Jiangyue glared at Lin Shuehua. But I only have 300 million in my private account. Including my property, I only have 500 million in total. Wait a minute. I still have shares in Lee Sin Group. No way. Lin Shuehua firmly said. Those shares in your hands must not be moved. Otherwise, even if you can fill in this sum of money, your father will also know. Furthermore, these shares are the foundation of your existence. You must not touch them. Lin Jiangyue also knew the importance of those shares. He pulled his hair hard. What should we do? If we can't fill in the account, Dad will definitely find out. When the time comes, I will be finished. How about we talk to your mom? She should have a lot of money too. Lin Shuehua asked. Lin Jiangyue's face lit up. Yeah, you can look for my mom. At this moment, the phone that Lin Jiangyue swiped on the floor suddenly rang. Lin Jiangyue, who was extremely depressed by this matter, was not in the mood to listen to the phone. It was Lin Shuehua who went over and picked up the phone. Ask Lin Jiangyue to listen to the phone. A male voice came from the other side of the phone. May I ask who you are? Lin Shuehua frowned and asked. Who is it? Lin Jiangyue turned around. Lin Shuehua handed the microphone to him. Lin Jiangyue heard the person on the phone ask with a smile. Lin Jiangyue, have you thought about how to fill in the 800 million hole? Lin Jiangyue was stunned when he heard what the man on the phone said. A wave of panic emerged in his heart. He immediately said in a deep voice, Who are you? Except for Lin Jiangyue and Lin Shuehua, the only person who knew about this matter was the director of the Earth Administration Bureau. Furthermore, the director did not know much, nor did he know how much money Lin Jiangyue had spent to buy that piece of land. Besides these people, the only ones who knew about this matter were the people who had plotted to cheat Lin Jiangyue. Therefore, Lin Jiangyue did not wait for their reply and shouted, So it's you guys. F*CKU. You be stars. How dare you lie to me, Lin Jiangyue? Do you know who I am? Of course I do. If I didn't know who you are, would we have spent so much effort to create such a good show? The person on the phone laughed. You are the most beloved son of Lin Baihong, Lin Jiangyue. Well, your Lin family is also one of the top 10 tycoons in Hong Kong. Don't worry. Whether it's an enemy or a friend, I'm used to investigating his background first. The person on the other side of the phone said in a mocking tone, as if he was playing with a child. This made Lin Jiangyue even more furious. Who exactly are you? Why did you set me up like this? After talking for so long, you still can't recognize my voice? The person on the other side of the phone smiled faintly. Lin Jiangyue's expression changed. He kept thinking in his heart. Suddenly, his eyes widened. You are Zhou Hao. At least you still remember me. This person was Zhou Hao. Lin Jiangyue gritted his teeth and said, You did everything? Those fellows who pretended to be villagers are also your people. You can say that. Zhou Hao smiled and said, Haha, I haven't congratulated you yet. Congratulations on becoming the head of Lee Sin Corporation, although it's only temporary. Why? Is it because I hit your car? Lin Jiangyue clenched his fists. He had been thinking about how to deal with Zhou Hao to regain his reputation, but he did not expect Zhou Hao to make the first move. He even made Lin Jiangyue fall heavily. I know you have a good relationship with Xing Yingquan, but I don't believe that you have committed such a huge crime, and he still dares to cover up for you. Crimes? What crime have I committed? Zhou Hao's laughter came from the phone. I never said what I did. Besides, what evidence do you have? Although you are a famous person in society, I can still sue you for slander. Hearing the ridicule in Zhou Hao's tone, Lin Jiangyue finally managed to control himself from throwing the microphone away. At this time, he heard Zhou Hao say, I know that during the period when Lin Baixin wasn't in Hong Kong, you were the one who managed Lee Sin Corporation. So you really want to make some achievements, let the people of Lee Sin Corporation see, and let your dad see that you are not a mediocre person. However, you should know your own limitations. You are a mediocre person. What did you say? Veins popped out on Lin Jiangyue's face. What I said is the truth. If it was your father, Lin Baixin, this trick would not be able to do anything to him. It's a pity that you are not your father. You are just a mediocre person who is eager for quick success and great talent. Zhou Hao said with a smile. This was also the reason why he used a trick to get Lin Baihong to Taiwan. Edited by Lifer, Editor, Editor, Editory, Editor, 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 Nyoibo Studio Editor, Nyoibo Studio Editor, Nyoibo Studio Editor, Nyoibo Studio. If it was Lin Baixin, then it would be very difficult to trick him with that little trick. Faced with Zhou Hao's direct insult and the loss of 800 million, Lin Jiangyue wanted to throw the microphone in his hand away. Wait, if you hang up the phone, I will immediately tell Lin Baixin that you have run out of 800 million. Zhou Hao smiled and said, so, don't be too impulsive in everything. It is because you are too impatient that you are so easily fooled by others. Humph, 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 humph. If Lin Baihong were to find out about this matter, even if he doesn't exclude you from being the successor of Li Xin Group, he will still severely punish you. Lin Jiangyue felt that his actions had been firmly controlled by Zhou Hao through a phone call. He kept taking deep breaths to adjust his emotions. His chest heaved up and down several times before he said, tell me, what exactly do you want? Haha, actually, I have something I need your help with. If this matter succeeds, not only will I help you keep the secret, I can also return the 400 million in the money to you, Zhou Hao said. That was originally my money. Lin Jiangyue could not help but shout. Brother Lin, take the rest of the 400 million as a lesson. Remember to be careful in the future. Also, if this matter doesn't succeed, you won't be able to take a single piece back. I'll also tell Lin Baihong about this matter. So, you better help me seriously. Lin Jiangyue waved his hand fiercely. All right. What exactly is it? Tell me. It's like this. Recently, I have been very interested in the television industry in Hong Kong, so I have taken a liking to the Asia Television Limited under your Lin family's name. I want to buy the Asia Television Limited. Zhou Hao said, as for the price, I will not lower it. 600 million Hong Kong dollars will do. I will buy all the shares of the Asia Television Limited in your hands. 600 million? Lin Jiangyue's eyes widened. Why don't you ask us to give the Asia Television Limited to you for free? That's a good idea, but I'm afraid you won't be so generous. Lin Jiangyue was completely enraged. Do you know how much money we invested to the Asia Television Limited? 3 billion. 3 billion. It's not easy for us to turn the loss into profit, and you want to buy it with 600 million? Then you have to think about it yourself, Brother Lin. Back then, your father bought the Asia Television Limited, and he wanted to compete with Xiao Yifu in the television industry. However, you and your father have been in charge of the Asia Television Limited for so many years. Have you ever tried to defeat wireless? Last year, you made the Asia Television Limited lose money, but can you guarantee that you won't lose money this year? Zhou Hao said to Lin Jiangyue. Besides, you want to protect a television station with a bleak future. Or do you want to lose your foothold in the Lin family and the opportunity to compete for Li Xin Corporation? You have to think it through. You have to know that Lin Jiankong is now with your dad in Taiwan. He treats your dad very well. He is very pleasing to your dad. Zhou Hao's last sentence hit Lin Jiangyue's soft spot. After weighing the pros and cons, he said, but my dad is still very enthusiastic about the Asia Television Limited. He wants to convince him to sell the Asia Television Limited to you. I'm afraid it won't be easy. Zhou Hao sneered. That's what you have to consider. Anyway, I care about the outcome. Also, I hope that this matter can be resolved within a month. Otherwise, humph, humph. After saying that, Zhou Hao hung up the phone. Listening to the busy tone on the phone, Lin Jiangyue softly sat down on the floor. Lin Xuehua hurriedly walked over and supported his shoulder. He asked with concern, Jiangyu, what happened? Did that group of people call you? What are they trying to do? Lin Jiangyue was feeling helpless. When he saw Lin Xuehua's concerned look, he was very touched and told her everything. When Lin Xuehua heard this, he was also very shocked by the viciousness of Zhou Hao's scheme. If Zhou Hao really bought the Asia Television Limited with 600 million yuan, even if he returned the original 400 million to Lin Jiangyue, he still had 400 million yuan. In this way, Zhou Hao only spent 200 million to buy the Asia Television Limited. A profit of 10,000. Lin Xuehua sighed in his heart. Zhou Hao's business was too ruthless and vicious. Furthermore, after this matter was settled, Zhou Hao still had something on Lin Jiangyue. In the future, he might use this to deal with Lin Jiangyue. I have to go to Taiwan to convince father that Asia Television Limited has left his hands, Lin Jiangyue said with a solemn expression. Damn it. He actually wanted to use 600 million to buy the Asia Television Limited. This Zhou Hao's appetite is too big. Lin Xuehua's eyes suddenly lit up. Do you want me to accompany you to Taiwan? Lin Jiangyue shook his head and said, no need. Help me keep an eye on the company. If you need anything, let me know immediately. Hearing this, Lin Shuihua agreed. There was a desolate look on his face. After that, Lin Jiangyue still had to think about how to convince Lin Baixin, so he let Lin Shuihua go back first. Lin Shuihua took the elevator to the underground parking lot and dialed a number at the same time. It's me. Lin Jiangyue, that fellow is suffering. Did you know that he was plotted against by that Zhou Hao? He ran out of 800 million Hong Kong dollars. She told everything about Lin Jiangyue to the person on the other side of the phone. Finally, she said with a worried look, "Are you all right over there? I miss you so much." "Miss Lin, are you having a heart-to-heart talk with your lover?" Suddenly, a figure flashed out from behind a pillar at the side, giving Lin Shuihua fright. He no longer cared about the person on the other side of the phone. He hurriedly cut off the call and put the phone back into his pocket. Then, he looked at the person in front of him. You are Zhou Hao. I did not expect Miss Lin to recognize me." The person who suddenly appeared was Zhou Hao. "Mr. Lin is up there," Lin Shuihua said. Zhou Hao smiled and shook his head. "I am not here to find him. Miss Lin, I am here to find you." Lin Shuihua's expression changed. His right hand quietly reached into his bag and touched the anti-wolf spray inside. "Looking for me? Why are you looking for me?" Zhou Hao looked at her hand in the bag and shrugged with a smile. "Miss Lin, don't worry. I am not a pervert, and I am not interested in Lin Jiangyue's woman. I came to find you because I want to talk business with you." When he heard that Zhou Hao wanted to talk business with him, Lin Shuihua subconsciously felt a chill run down his spine because she had already seen Zhou Hao's means of talking business. "We have nothing to talk about." Lin Shuihua firmly refused. "Of course." Zhou Hao's smile remained. "Just now I said that you are Lin Jiangyue's woman. Actually, this was not all right. In fact, you should be Lin Jiankong's woman. Am I right?" When Lin Shuihua heard this, his expression immediately changed drastically. His eyes revealed a look of disbelief. "What did you say? I don't understand." Lin Shuihua suppressed the panic in his heart and said with a cold face. Zhou Hao smiled and said, "This Lin Jiankong is really amazing." In order to compete with Lin Jiangyue, he even used the beauty trick. What do you think would happen if others knew about this? It would be better if Lin Jiangyue knew about it. At most, he would break up with you and remove you from your position as the CEO of Li Xin. However, if Lin Baixin knew that Lin Jiankong was plotting against Lin Jiangyue, his impression in Lin Baixin's heart would be greatly reduced. When Lin Shuihua heard these words, he found it hard to remain calm. She stared at Zhou Hao with hatred and said, "You are so despicable. You have been by Lin Jiangyue's side for so long. You should know that business is like a battlefield. Your Li Xin group has used unorthodox ways many times." Zhou Hao shrugged and smiled. "All right, are you still interested in talking to me now?" He hesitated for a moment. Lin Shuihua finally gave in and brought Zhou Hao to his car. Sitting in the driver's seat, she said coldly to Zhou Hao beside her, "All right, if there's anything you need to say, just say it." Zhou Hao smiled and said, Lin Jiangyue should be preparing to go to Taiwan to convince his father. However, if he rashly told Lin Baixin to sell the Asia Television Limited, Lin Baixin would probably find it strange too. Besides, Lin Jiangyue alone is not enough to convince Lin Baixin. Lin Shuihua glanced at him. "Do you want to get health to help persuade Lin Baixin to sell the Asia Television Limited to you?" Zhou Hao smiled. "No wonder Jinkong Lin put you by Lin Jiangyue's side. You are indeed outstanding. I can't guarantee that he will agree to this." "He will agree." Zhou Hao smiled and said, "As long as he still wants to establish a foothold in the Lin family, he will agree." Besides, the Asia Television Limited had no influence on him at all. Why should he guard it for Lin Baihong and Lin Jiangyue? Lin Shuihua looked deeply at Zhou Hao. After a long time, he said, "If we help you with this matter, but you still tell Lin Baihong about this matter, what should we do? If you want to destroy the bridge after crossing the river, we can't stop you at all. You have no choice. Helping me might not be able to keep the secret between you and Lin Jiankong, but if you don't help, your matter will definitely be exposed. Think about how you should decide." Zhou Hao said, "Also, after this matter is done, if Lin Jiankong wants to fight Lin Jiangyue in the future, I might be able to help him." Seeing that Lin Shuihua was silent, Zhou Hao knew that she was considering the feasibility of this matter. He smiled and said, "Think about it carefully. It's the same as the deadline I gave Lin Jiangyue. I hope this matter can have a result within a month." After saying that, he opened the car door and left. After Zhou Hao left, Lin Shuihua immediately called Lin Jiankong and told him about this matter. "There's no other way. I can't not help you with this." On the phone, Lin Jiankong said to Lin Shuihua, "I didn't expect Zhou Hao to be so powerful. He even knows about what happened between you and me." "Who is he?" "I don't know either." Lin Shuehua said quietly, but he said that if this matter is done, you can compete with Lin Jiangyue in the future. I will help you. Oh, Lin Jiankong was also interested. This Xiaohao is so powerful. If I have his help, I might really be able to defeat Lin Jiangyue, the second-generation ancestor. After a pause, he said, initially, I thought that after knowing Lin Jiangyue's weakness, I wouldn't have to be so passive in the future. Who would have thought that even my weakness would fall into someone else's hands? Xue Yaohua, you are worried. I will handle this matter properly. On the other side, after Zhou Hao left Lin Shuehua's car, he sat in another off-road vehicle parked in the distance. And Ai Yongxiao was waiting for him there. How is it? Did she agree? It is not up to her to not agree. Zhou Hao smiled. I still have to thank you. If it wasn't for your subordinate coincidentally seeing her having a date with Lin Jiankong, I'm afraid no one would know about this. And Ai Yongxiao started the car and said, I really didn't expect that their fight for brothers would even use the beauty trick. The intrigue in this wealthy family is even more dangerous than the bloodshed in our underworld. Of course, Zhou Hao said, the Lin family is one of the top 10 tycoons in Hong Kong. All their assets add up to tens of billions of HKD. With so much money, many people are willing to do anything. Indeed, under Lin Jiangyue and Lin Jiankong's persuasion, 2 weeks later, Lin Baixin, who was still detained in Taiwan, officially authorized Lin Jiangyue to sell off all the shares of the Asia Television Limited that he had over 90% of. This news caused a sensation in Hong Kong. After all, the Asia Television Limited was the largest television station in Hong Kong other than the Wireless Television Limited. Naturally, the change of ownership would attract a lot of attention. Furthermore, the media in Hong Kong had also found out that the one who bought all the shares of the Asia Television Limited in Lin Baixin's hands was a domestic film and television media company called North Pole Star. No one knew the background of this North Pole Star, and they had never heard of it before. Furthermore, no one had announced to the public what kind of price Lin Baihong had used to sell the shares of Asia Television Limited in his hands. According to the estimates of the industry insiders, it should be between 1 billion and 1.5 billion. The people in the Asia Television Limited were the most shocked. This was because before this news was released, there was no news at all. They even thought that the television station had successfully turned the loss into a profit last year. Lin should have made a bigger investment. Who would have thought that he would let the Open Asia Television Limited change owners without any warning? As for the longtime enemy of the Asia Television Limited, the Wireless Television Limited, their attitude towards this matter was cold and indifferent, and they didn't make any comments. In the eyes of the Wireless Television Limited, the Asia Television Limited had changed hands several times. Every time, they would say that they wanted to reform, but every time, they would end up in failure. There was nothing that could threaten them. On this day, a high-level meeting was going to be held in the office building of the Asia Television Limited. All the supervisors of the television stations and the managers of various departments were going to attend the meeting. Early in the morning, all the higher-ups of the Asia Television Limited came to the office building one after another. As the new boss would be coming to meet them during this meeting, everyone was very nervous. Although they were the higher-ups of Asia Television Limited, they still didn't know who their new boss was. They hadn't even heard of his name, and that Polar North film media company didn't send anyone over. Therefore, everyone was nervous and had a feeling that their future was uncertain. In the office building, Chen Shursan was chatting with a man with a medium build. The current Chen Shursan was very different from his previous dejected look. He was full of energy and seemed to be full of energy from head to toe. The man who was chatting with him was the supervisor of Asia Television Limited, Xianji Wei. 13. Why don't you seem worried at all? Xianji Wei said. This time, Uncle Lin suddenly sold the company. All of us were very surprised. We don't know who that new boss is, but this time, he wants the television station to start a new policy. It wasn't easy for our Asia Television Limited to have some results. I really don't want her to meet another setback. Chen Shursen said, Brother Wei, among the higher-ups, only you care about the company. Those guys only care about their jobs. Sigh, as the saying goes, a person can change a person in a day. Right now, everyone is afraid that the new boss will replace them. Xianji Wei said worriedly. It's better if they are all replaced. They are basically the cancer of the company. It's even better if they are replaced. Chen Shursan said with a smile. At this time, the employees at the bottom level were more stable because the entire television station was built by the employees at the bottom level. As long as they had foresight, they would not casually touch the employees at the bottom level of the company. All right, let's not talk about it anymore. I'm going to have a meeting. Xianji Wei patted Chen Shursan's shoulder, then turned around and walked into the elevator. Qin Shi muttered to himself. I wonder where the Asia Television Limited will turn to this time. At this moment, he suddenly saw a familiar figure. Shocked, he immediately ran towards it. He said in surprise, Mr. Zhou, why are you here? It's Mr. Chun. This person was Zhou Hao. He smiled at Qin Shi. I said we will meet soon. Behind him, there was also a large group of people. There were both men and women, all of whom were not older than 30 years old. The leader was Song Jiahao, whose arm had just been removed from the cast. Mr. Zhou, why are you here? Qin Shi looked at the large group of people behind Zhou Hao, puzzled. I'm just here to stroll around. Zhou Hao smiled and said, What about you? What are you doing here? Qin Shi shrugged. The company had a new boss, and the higher-ups were in a meeting. Wait a minute. Could it be that you are the people sent by the Polaris company? Zhou Hao did not speak and only lightly smiled. Qin Shi then said, Could it be that you are the people sent by that North Pole Star company? You are our new boss, right? I can't tell you this right now. Zhou Hao said, By the way, I think you have regained your spirit. Very well, don't give up. After saying that, he patted his shoulder and left with Song Jiahao and the others. In the spacious meeting room, all the supervisors and heads of various departments in the television station were present. They were sitting around the spacious conference table. However, these managers, who were usually superior to others in the company, were now full of anxiety and worry. The door of the meeting room was pushed open and a large group of people walked in one after another. The person in the lead was Song Jiahao, but Zhou Hao was hidden in the middle of the crowd. It was not easy for him to attract the attention of the higher-ups of Asia Television Limited. All the higher-ups of the Asia Television Limited turned their eyes to Song Jiahao and the young men and women who weren't even 30 years old. They had already guessed that these people must be the ones sent by the North Pole Star to take over the Asia Television Limited. The general manager of the broadcasting department, who was sitting at the conference table, immediately wanted to stand up and greet Song Jiahao. However, Song Jiahao raised his hand and stopped him from saying anything. Song Jiahao walked straight to the front of the conference table and placed his hands on the table. His sharp eyes swept across the conference room and saw the unnatural expressions on everyone's faces. After a while, he spoke. Good morning, everyone. I was sent by Polar Star Film Media Company. My name is Song Jiahao. I believe everyone knows that our Polar Star has already purchased 90% of the Asia Television Limited shares from Mr. Lin Baixin. In other words, the Asia Television Limited has already become a subsidiary of our Polar Star. No one responded to Song Jiahao's words. After all, everyone already knew about this matter. As a large company, the ability of management is very important. After our company's rigorous investigation and analysis, we have decided to let the management of Asia Television Limited make some adjustments. Song Jiahao continued. His words also shocked everyone present. From Song Jiahao's words, North Pole Star was going to change the blood of the management of Asia Television Limited. Many people had strange expressions on their faces because none of them wanted to be demoted or even fired. At the same time, they were also complaining in their hearts. They thought to themselves that this North Pole Star was too ruthless. It didn't even notify them before it moved the management staff. At this time, they saw Song Jiahao take a document from an assistant's hand and read it aloud. Xianji Wei, Li Zhaoxi, Ho Weiluan. He read out a total of 10 names. Xianji Wei and Li Zhaoxi were the supervisors of Asia Television Limited. Ho Weiluan was the director of the production department, and the rest were the managers of some departments. When they heard Song Jiahao say his name, Xianji Wei and the others were anxious, thinking that it was over this time. As for those who weren't called, they secretly heaved a sigh of relief. A few of them couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. Those whose names are called can stay in their original positions. As for the rest of you, please go to the Human Resources Department to receive 3 months of salary. You have been fired. Song Jiahao closed the document and said. When he said this, everyone present was stunned. Xianji Wei and the others who were preparing to pack their things and leave were also very surprised. Those who were secretly relieved just now were dumbfounded. The general manager of the broadcasting department stood up and said to Song Jiahao, Mr. Song, you said you wanted to fire us, so please give us a reasonable reason. Song Jiahao gave him a cold look, then glanced at those who were unhappy with him. After that, he said slowly, the Asia Television Limited's result is the best reason. Since you can't let the Asia Television Limited develop, then there is no value for you to stay. We know that you and the others are mostly from Lee Sin Group. However, it won't do any good for the Asia Television Limited to let outsiders like you, who don't know much about the television industry, take charge. You can go back to the New Lee Corporation. If you really have the ability, you can shine wherever you go. You. The general manager pointed at Song Jiahao, his face full of anger. Asia Television Limited is already a subsidiary of our company. We have the right to decide the fate of our employees. Song Jiahao smiled calmly. So please cooperate with us a little. If we send security guards to take you away, I believe you will not look good either. At this point, these fired higher-ups had nothing more to say. Even if they were unwilling, they were just employees of the company after all. They could not resist the company's decision at all. Once these people left, it meant that more than half of the higher-ups of Asia Television Limited had been fired. Only Xian Jiwei, Li Zhaoxi, and 10 others were left at the conference table. Xian Jiwei and the others saw that more than half of the management had been taken away by the North Pole Star. Their actions were so big and their means were so decisive that it made these people who were able to retain their positions feel a sense of concern. At the same time, they also felt that the people of the North Pole Star seemed to know a lot about the Asia Television Limited, because those managers who were fired could be said to be harmful to the Asia Television Limited. Just like what Song Jiahao had said, many of those people came from Lee Sin Group and did not know how to make a television station. There were also some people who were in the industry, but these people treated the company's interests as nothing. They were even more harmful than those outsiders from Lee Sin Group. They didn't dare to take the initiative to speak. They just looked at Song Jiahao quietly. They had thought that Song Jiahao was their new boss and were waiting for him to speak. However, Song Jiahao moved sideways to the side and said to the young men and women, "Boss, that's enough." Zhou Hao walked out of the crowd. He slowly walked to the front seat and sat down. Everyone also understood that Song Jiahao was not the new boss. This handsome man who looked like he was only 20 years old was. Zhou Hao looked at Xian Jiwei and the others, then said with a smile, "Everyone, my name is Zhou Hao. Polaris is a company under my name. I know that all of you are the ones who have truly contributed to the Asia Television Limited. All of you are the ones who have supported the Asia Television Limited until today, and have successfully turned it into a profitable company. I hope that all of you can continue to work hard in the future and help me develop the Asia Television Limited." Xian Jiwei and Li Zhaoxi felt very comfortable listening to Zhou Hao's sincere praise. However, they were a little worried about Zhou Hao, a young man who was in charge of the Asia Television Limited. One should know that even someone like Lin Baixin, who had decades of experience, had lost his life in the Asia Television Limited. Zhou Hao was even younger than Lin Baixin's youngest daughter, which made them worry. "Regarding my identity, I hope that everyone will not spread it. I do not wish to be entangled by the media in Hong Kong." Zhou Hao smiled lightly and said, "Also, these are the talents that I have hired from all over the country. Some of them just came back from a foreign film and photography major. Some of them are people who have been working behind the scenes for many years in Hong Kong." Xian Jiwei and Li Zhaoxi nodded slightly because they recognized a few of the young men in the group. They were the people who had been behind the scenes in Hong Kong's entertainment industry for many years. They were very capable, but Hong Kong's movies had obviously entered a downward trend. Many film production talents were full. Xian Jiwei and Li Zhaoxi were unwilling to let these talents be buried. They hoped to recommend them to the Asia Television Limited. However, the higher-ups had not approved it. They did not expect Zhou Hao to invite them back this time. Furthermore, these people were all very young. They had just arrived at the Asia Television Limited, so they didn't have any background or connections. Everything had to depend on their own abilities. Therefore, the strength they exerted couldn't be underestimated. It was precisely because of their young age that they dared to do so. It was because of this that they were able to bring peace to the declining Asia Television Limited. Zhou Hao looked at Ho Weiluan. "I know that the layout, props, and some equipment of the Asia Television Limited are already very old and have always lacked funds to change them. With these old things, you have helped the Asia Television Limited to survive until today. You have contributed a lot." Ho Weiluan immediately said, "Mr. Zhou, you flatter me. I am just doing my duty. It's already very rare to be able to complete my duty properly." Zhou Hao smiled and said, "In the future, we don't need those moldy old tools anymore. You can change everything according to the actual situation. You don't have to worry about the funds." He smiled at the elders of Asia Television Limited, who were present. "I have prepared 1 billion HKD funds for the Asia Television Limited. I believe it will be enough for 1 to 2 years. "Enough, enough," a woman in her 40s or 50s said hastily. Her name was Deng Ning, the finance director of the Asia Television Limited. 1 billion HKD, not to mention 1 to 2 years, is more than enough for our TV station to sustain for more than 4 years. Zhou Hao shook his head and smiled. "I know that in the past, you often shorten the production investment in order to reduce the cost, but in the future, don't be like this anymore. This will have a negative impact on the quality of our TV station's film works. Our company has ample funds. I have prepared 1 billion HKD for the Asia Television Limited. Even if you use it all up within a year, it will not be a problem. As long as you can give me results, it will be fine. He knew that due to the lack of funds, the Asia Television Limited used to lower the investment of filming in order to reduce the cost. This directly affected the quality of television dramas. Later on, the production was suspended and the production was supported by foreign dramas. Of course, I absolutely do not encourage the shop to waste money. All the funds must be used reasonably. Zhou Hao said seriously. If the company finds out that someone is squandering, I will punish him severely. Then, Zhou Hao said to Xian Jiwei and Li Zhaoxi, Gentlemen, I know that you are the best supervisors in Asia Television Limited. From today onwards, I will give you 30% extra salary. I hope that you will work harder. Both of them were famous supervisors that were hard to come by. Xian Jiwei was the supervisors of the two zombies, while Li Zhaoxi was the supervisors of traversing 4 seas, which would cause the wireless media to run wild in the future. When the two of them saw that Zhou Hao had increased their pay by 30%, they were pleasantly surprised. From Zhou Hao's attitude, it was obvious that he thought highly of the two of them. They were indeed talented, but they had been suppressed by the higher-ups in the past, so they were unable to display their abilities most of the time. By the way, call Chen Shursan over as well. Zhou Hao suddenly said, Isn't the position of Composition Department Director vacant? Let him take it. Xian Jiwei and Li Zhaoxi were puzzled by Zhou Hao asking Chen Shursan, whose name was Chen Yaohui, to be the director of the Composition Department. Xian Jiwei asked Zhou Hao, Mr. Zhou, you know 13? Zhou Hao smiled and said, I've heard of him a long time ago. He wrote, The King of 10 Million back out of the pugilistic world, and I have a date with Spring. I like both of them very much. Besides, I met him not long ago. He can be considered a friend. At this time, Chen Shursan had already been invited in. Just now, he saw many of the original high-ranking staff of the television station packing their things and leaving the television station. He immediately guessed that they must have been fired by the new boss. Looking at these higher-ups who usually used their power to scheme for personal gain in the television station, ignoring the company's interests, and even hooking up with the female artists of the television station, leaving unwillingly, Chen Shursan felt extremely delighted in his heart. Suddenly, someone came over to ask him to go to the meeting room for a meeting. Chen Shursan followed that person to the meeting room in confusion. As soon as he entered, he saw Zhou Hao sitting at the main seat of the meeting table. His eyes widened and he could not help but shout, So you are really our new boss. Zhou Hao smiled at him. From today onwards, we will have many opportunities to work together. You are the boss. You can do whatever you want. Chen Shursan scratched his head and said with a smile. At this time, he also saw Xian Jiwei, Li Zhaoxi, Ho Weiluan and Deng Ning. Brother Wei, brother Shi, I knew you guys would be fine. If Mr. Zhou can even fire you guys, then he really won't be able to recognize you guys. Hee. Today was too satisfying. The cancer of our television station was cut off by Mr. Zhou. Xian Jiwei hastily glared at Chen Shursan. What are you talking about? Why don't you take a look at the occasion? Then, he turned to Zhou Hao and said, Mr. Zhou, Shursan is a little straightforward. Don't blame him. He has no ill intentions. Zhou Hao raised his hand and said with a smile, It doesn't matter. If Chen Shursan was the kind of person who would talk nonsense when he sees others, I wouldn't have let him be the director of the composition department. Upon hearing this, Chen Shursan was immediately stunned. He pointed at himself and said, What? You want me to be the director of the creation department? That's right. I know you have talent in this field. Zhou Hao smiled. In his previous life, Chen Shursan had indeed become the director of the composition department of Asia Television Limited. It could be seen that his talent was not limited to writing. Chen Shursan recovered very quickly. He did not have any intention of declining. He said confidently, Mr. Zhou, I will prove it to you. Your judgment is correct. He had accepted the position of the director of the creation department so easily. Others might think that he was arrogant and conceited, but Zhou Hao knew that Chen Shursan had the ability. He had been in Asia Television Limited for more than 10 years. Apart from the scriptwriter, he knew the process of filming and the production behind the scenes like the back of his hand. Not to mention the creation department, Zhou Hao believed that Chen Shursan had the ability to take charge of any department. I have confidence in my judgment and your ability. I hope you won't disappoint me and everyone else. Zhou Hao smiled. By the way, he said, I have fired the general manager of the radio department. Now let me introduce you to a new general manager of the radio department, Su Lin. A beautiful woman wearing a professional suit walked out from the group of youths and went straight to Zhou Hao's side. She placed her hands in front of her and bowed slightly to Xianji Wei and the others. She said in a clear and melodious voice, "Hello, everyone. I am Su Lin. From today onwards, I will be the general manager of the broadcasting department of Asia Television and Radio Limited. Please give me your guidance." Su Lin was very beautiful, especially after being nourished by Zhou Hao. That kind of charming temperament on her body became even more charming. Before this, even if she stood among the group of youths, she wouldn't be hidden. When Xian Jiwei and Qin Shirsan saw her, they thought that she was an artiste that Zhou Hao had found. They thought that if she was an artiste, she would become the pillar of Asia Television Limited without any suspense. However, they didn't expect this beautiful and moving woman to be the new general manager of the business department. As the name suggested, the general manager of the broadcasting department was in charge of the company's broadcasting business, including advertising and sponsorship. He had a lot of power in the company. Li Zhaoxi frowned and said to Zhou Hao, "Mr. Zhou, the broadcasting department is related to the company's performance and profitability. Miss Su is so young, is it not appropriate?" Originally, after Su Lin became the manager of the broadcasting department, she had a high position in the Asia Television Limited. The old men in the company should be scrambling to curry favor with her. But Li Zhaoxi did not care that he would offend Su Lin and directly raised his objection to Zhou Hao. However, Zhou Hao did not have a trace of anger on his face. There was still a smile on his face. Even Su Lin looked at Li Zhaoxi with a smile. Zhou Hao said, "Brother Shi, you are the one who truly thinks for the company. I also hope that everyone can be like Brother Shi in the future. If you have any suggestions, just proactively speak them out. After all, everyone is doing this for the company." After a pause, he continued, "I know why you think Su Lin is not suitable, Brother Shi. Because if you want to build a good business department, you must have a wide network. Only then can you get more business for the company." The previous general manager relied on the interpersonal relationships accumulated by Lee Sin Corporation. Since I have already bought the Asia Television Limited from Lin Baihong, then the connections and resources of Lee Sin Corporation have nothing to do with us anymore. Everyone agreed with what he said. Lee Sin Corporation had been operating in Hong Kong for many years and had accumulated a lot of connections and resources. This was also the main reason why Lin Baihong was able to turn the Asia Television Limited into a profitable company in the end. Zhou Hao had Zhang Yingquan and Xing Yingpei behind him, as well as the commander of the Liberation Army, Lu Zhenwu. There were even big shots like Ni Yongxiao and Xiang Huaqiang. However, in terms of connections, Zhou Hao was indeed no match for the Lin family. "I believe in Su Lin's abilities, just like how I believe in Qin Shirsan," Zhou Hao said. "Furthermore, even if our connections and resources are not as good as Lee Sin Group's, however, as long as our television station has good results, do we need to worry about those advertising companies not coming to our door?" Zhou Hao's words made everyone present nod their heads. This was an iron rule. As long as the television station's viewership ratings increased, the results would be out. Even if they didn't need to do business, those advertising companies would still fight to find them. "That's right. There's one more thing I want to tell everyone," Zhou Hao said to everyone. "We will be leaving this office building soon, because I have already built a new TV city somewhere else." TV city? Everyone was shocked by Zhou Hao's words, because they had never heard of this news before. Logically speaking, building a TV city was a sensational news, and with Hong Kong's media penetration, it should have been reported long ago. Li Zhaoxi asked, "Mr. Zhou, may I ask, where is the new TV city?" "It's in General Australia." "General Australia? Isn't that the industrial estate?" Xian Jiwei was also very puzzled. Zhou Hao replied, "That's the place. I bought a piece of land that is 200,000 square feet from General Australia a month ago. Building an industrial estate was just news to the outside world. In fact, I built a television broadcast city there. That piece of land was the newly built television city of Wireless Television Limited a few years later. But now, it was bought by Zhou Hao first. In his previous life, the Wireless Television Limited's television city in General Australia was only 110,000 square feet. Zhou Hao's current TV city was twice as big as his. The new TV city is expected to be put into use at the beginning of next year. At that time, we will be able to move there officially. Zhou Hao said, "The scenery and equipment there are bigger and more new than the ones here. There are also a lot of filming sites, so in the future, you don't have to worry about a few film crew competing for a single set." Hearing Zhou Hao's words, everyone in the meeting room revealed an excited expression. The Asia Television Limited was built in this office building when it was first built. The scene was small and monotonous, and there weren't many filming sites. That was why the TV series produced by the Asia Television Limited appeared so petty. At the same time, Everyone was shocked by Zhou Hao's generosity. He had prepared an ample amount of 1 billion HKD for the TV station. Now, he had built a new TV city. Without hundreds of millions of HKD investment, he would not be able to build it. When Lin Baixin took over the Asia Television Limited, he did not have such a big move like Zhou Hao. Xian Jiwei and the others thought to themselves. Adding the 1 billion that they had spent to acquire the Asia Television Limited shares, Zhou Hao had invested nearly 3 billion Hong Kong dollars in this venture. He was rich and generous. Even the top few tycoons in Hong Kong couldn't compare to him. In fact, they did not know that Zhou Hao had only paid 200 million Hong Kong dollars for buying the Asia Television Limited shares from Lin Baihong. However, Zhou Hao had indeed prepared 2 billion Hong Kong dollars in order to rebuild the Asia Television Limited. 1 billion HKD was obtained from Fong Bingruan's shady business. The rest were the funds left by Zhou Hao's Galaxy Investment Company in Hong Kong. After the funds were invested into the stock markets in Southeast Asia and Japan and Korea, the money left by Galaxy Investment in Hong Kong was 800 million US dollars, which was 6 billion Hong Kong dollars. It was enough for Zhou Hao to use. By the way, 13. Has your I Have a Date with Zombies been auctioned yet? Zhou Hao asked. Chen Shursan shook his head. Not yet. Originally, Wei Ji and Shi Ji were very optimistic about my script, but the original composition director thought that Hong Kong had never filmed this type of drama before. The risk was too great, so he put it aside for the time being. Those so-called higher-ups actually put Chen Shursan's I Have a Date with Zombies aside. Zhou Hao sneered and said, "Sure enough, you are short-sighted." In his previous life, I Have a Date with Zombies only started filming in 1998. It seemed that if it wasn't for Zhou Hao purchasing the Asia Television Limited, Chen Shursan's script would have been put aside for next year. Zhou Hao looked at Chen Shursan, who was sitting next to Xian Jiwei, and said, "That script, have you prepared the final lubricant?" Hearing Zhou Hao's words, Chen Shursan's eyes lit up. Zhou Hao's words indicated that he had decided to agree to shoot I Have a Date with Zombies. Chen Shursan nodded and said, "It's done. I have written all the plot and scenes." Zhou Hao said to Xian Jiwei and Li Zhaoxi, "You two have read the script, right?" Zhou Hao asked when he saw them nod their heads. "Then, if you want to film this movie, do you have any candidates for the role of this movie?" Xian Jiwei and Li Zhaoxi looked at each other. Xian Jiwei said, "As for the male lead, I suggest Yin Tianzhao play the role of the male lead, while Chen Chitai takes charge of Yamamoto Hirai. As for the female lead," he looked at Li Zhaoxi. Li Zhaoxi smiled and said, "Ma Xiaoling, I recommend Wan Qiwen. As for Zhenzhen, Yang Gong Tathagata will be in charge." Zhou Hao let out a satisfied smile. These roles were all positioned exactly the same as in his previous life, and these roles played by these actors had already become iconic in Zhou Hao's heart. If it were someone else, they probably wouldn't have that kind of charm. By the way, isn't there another role in the script called Jin Zhong? Do you have any candidates? Zhou Hao asked. Li Zhaoxi and Xian Jiwei looked at each other and shook their heads at the same time. At this moment, Chen Shursan said, "I suggest that Du Wanze play this role because the role of Jin Zhong is rather funny. I think Du Wanze can play it well." Zhou Hao nodded. In fact, in the first part of I Have a Date with Zombies, Zhou Hao liked Jin Zhong, who was played by Du Wanze the most, except for the main character. He said to everyone present, "Then it's decided. This TV series is the first TV series I took over from Asia Television Limited, so I hope that everyone can work hard and cooperate with each department. This TV series requires a lot of visual and action stunts. It just so happens that there are a lot of experts in this field among the people I've brought. With the addition of the original members of the Asia Television Limited, there shouldn't be any problems." He knocked on the table and said, "Regarding this movie, there are only 4 words that I want. That is, exercise for proficiency." Now, Zhou Hao tried his best to provide the funds and the people behind the scenes. He believed that with his interference, I Have a Date with Zombies would definitely be even better than in his previous life. Also, is our television station going to film a humanities documentary? Zhou Hao asked. Ho Weiluan nodded and said, "Yes, Mr. Zhou. This documentary is called The Story of Finding a Home. It tells the experiences of the overseas people. However, this documentary requires a large investment. The initial estimate is that it will cost at least 30 million Hong Kong dollars. Therefore, this is only a proposal, and it has not been decided yet." Ho Weiluan was very optimistic about this story of finding a home, but due to the large investment, the management had not agreed to film it. When he heard Zhou Hao mention it now, he thought that Zhou Hao was going to shoot the documentary. It was no wonder that the documentary had always been targeted at a small portion of the audience. Zhou Hao had just taken over the Asia Television Limited, So what he wanted the most was a program with a high viewership rating. Naturally, he did not like this kind of documentaries that focused on people and not business. Just as Ho Weiluan was about to take the initiative to suggest putting this documentary on hold, Zhou Hao said, "Money is not a problem. This documentary must be filmed. Just write a budget for how much it costs. Arrange for someone who is best at making documentaries for me. You must complete it." Zhou Hao was the only one who understood the achievements of the story of Search for Home. This was the best humanities documentary in the world, not only in Hong Kong, but also in the Pearl Triangle region and in every region of China. "Weiluan, you will be in charge of this program. There is no need to rush. Just like I have a date with zombies, I need quality," Zhou Hao said. Ho Weiluan was very happy because he finally saw that Zhou Hao was not a businessman who only cared about profits. Although it was important to run a television station, it was important to do business. However, if one did not have a deep enough cultural knowledge, then the Asia Television Limited would only end up as a television station without any cultural heritage and would only chase after benefits in the end. "Mr. Zhou, don't worry. I won't let you down," Ho Weiluan said, as if he had met a wise man. Zhou Hao nodded. "That's all for now. Su Lin will take care of the other matters and arrangements. Everyone, try your best to help her. The meeting is adjourned." After saying that, he stood up and left the meeting room. After that, with the help of Xianji Wei, Ho Weiluan and the others, Su Lin arranged the production talents that Zhou Hao had gathered back to various positions. She also toured the various departments and understood the specific operations of each department. Before this, she had already read many books related to film production management. Although she was in charge of the business matters, there was no harm in understanding the operation of the television station. When Su Lin used to work in that foreign trade company, she was in charge of the business and was very good at this. Furthermore, the Asia Television Limited had now become Zhou Hao's property, so she was naturally very diligent in managing it. At night, Zhou Hao and Su Lin arrived at a private room in a nightclub. Qin Shi-san, Xian Jiwei, and Li Zhaoxi had been waiting for them inside for quite some time. Xian Jiwei joked when he saw Zhou Hao, "Your boss is really dishonest. He didn't let anyone go home after work. My wife is still at home waiting for me to go home. I didn't dare tell her that I came to the nightclub. What are you afraid of? We're not here to fool around." Zhou Hao also smiled and sat on the sofa with Su Lin. Qin Shi-san brought some beer to Zhou Hao and Su Lin. "Mr. Zhou, you asked us to come here and not to call us Mississippi. What are you doing?" When she heard him call her Miss, Su Lin glared at Zhou Hao, who was beside her. Zhou Hao quickly said, "What are you talking about? I asked you to come here to discuss official business." Li Zhaoxi said with a smile, "Mr. Zhou, let's talk about business quickly. We are so happy after the discussion." "Wait a minute. Everyone is not here yet," Zhou Hao said. As soon as he finished speaking, someone knocked on the door of the private room. After that, a middle-aged man walked in. Qin Shi-san and the others in the room were stunned when they saw this man. The man was also stunned when he saw Xian Jiwei and the others. "Liang Jiashu?" Xian Jiwei frowned because this middle-aged man was the famous supervisor of Wireless Television Limited, Liang Jiashu. Liang Jiashu saw Zhou Hao in the room, then looked at Li Zhaoxi and the others. He walked in and said, "Mr. Zhou, I didn't expect you to really buy the Asia Television Limited from Lin Buixin." He went straight to the sofa opposite of Zhou Hao and sat on it. The media outside kept guessing which wealthy man bought the Asia Television Limited. No one had ever heard of the North Pole Star. "When you called me just now to ask me out, I guess that the person who bought the Asia Television Limited must be you." "Mr. Zhou, this is..." Xian Jiwei saw that Liang Jiashu and Zhou Hao seemed to have a close relationship and was puzzled. After all, they belonged to two opposing camps, and there were some grudges between them. "Viagra, I think you guys know Mr. Liang as well." Zhou Hao smiled. Xian Jiwei and Li Zhaoxi both nodded. Zhou Hao then said to Liang Jiashu, "Mr. Liang, I remember you saying that if I can really buy the Asia Television Limited, you will jump ship and help me?" Liang Jiashu poured himself a cup of beer and drank it. Then he looked at Zhou Hao and said, "It seems that you are really determined to fight with the wireless. Then is there still a fake?" Zhou Hao sneered. "I have even started building the TV city. Tell me, what do you think? Am I for real? Television city? Where is it?" Liang Jiashu's reaction was exactly the same as Xian Jiwei's. "I didn't receive any news." Zhou Hao took a sip of his beer. "General Australia, we've been working for a month. However, I have announced to the public that it is an industrial estate." "Where is General Ao?" Liang Jiashu's expression changed. No wonder. Sixth uncle originally wanted to buy a piece of land there to build a new TV city on wireless. However, The piece of land that he wanted was bought in advance and built an industrial estate there, so sixth uncle could only choose another piece of land, but he had not chosen it yet. I didn't expect that the person who bought the piece of land before sixth uncle was you. Humph, humph, humph. How is it? You must be interested in helping me now, Zhou Hao said with a smile. Liang Jiashu drank another glass of wine. I really didn't expect that. You're so strong. All right, I have no attachment to wireless anyway. I'll come to Asia Television Limited to help you. Not only me, my men will also come along. Also, one of the producers in the drama production department, Su Yuan. The few teachers in the artist training class, my Chio, will also come with me. Liang Jiashu looked at Zhou Hao and said proudly, my artistes include Gu Tianla, Xian Xian, Ma Qinwei, Luo Jiaoyang, and so on. They will jump ship with me. Gu Tianla and Xian are willing to come with you? Xian Jiwei said in surprise, because he knew Gu Tianla, Luo Jiaoyang, and Xian were all very popular artistes. Without exception, they were all the young masters of Wireless Television Limited. Liang Jiashu revealed a proud smile. He knew that if he went to the Asia Television Limited alone, he would have a lot of experience. However, he might not be able to get an important position from Zhou Hao immediately. It would be different if he brought along a group of famous artistes and the people behind the scenes. Just like those generals in Romance of the Three Kingdoms, if they wanted to transfer to someone else, they would usually take credit for it. He said, Lazai, Xian, and the others have helped me, and they are also very dissatisfied with wireless. I have already talked to them. If I leave Wi-Fi, they will also follow me. Li Zhaoxi pondered. However, they are the bosses of wireless. Even if they want to leave, wireless won't let go so easily. It doesn't matter, because Lu Zai's contract with Wi-Fi is about to expire. Now Wi-Fi still wants to keep them. Liang Jiashu smiled and said, Wi-Fi and the others thought that by adding some money, they could keep Lu Zai and the others. They didn't know that they had already given up on Wi-Fi. Xian Jiwei said with some emotion, but compared to Gu Tianla and the rest, what I care about the most is still Michael and those few teachers. Are they really willing to come to our Asia Television Limited? Because teacher Michael and the others can't bear to see wireless overbearing methods. Liang Jiashu said, Mr. Zhou, we must treat teacher Michael and the others well. Nowadays, many A-list celebrities on wireless are taught by teacher Michael and the others. Xian Jiwei said to Zhou Hao with a serious expression, Wireless Television Limited's technical staff training class can be considered as Hong Kong's star-making factory, and teacher Michael is the best teacher in the wireless technical staff training class. Speaking of which, our Asia Television Limited's training class for the artist has been suspended for a long time. Zhou Hao said, then let's wait for teacher Michael and the others to come over and reconvene. The resources of our Asia Television Limited's artists are not as good as wireless, and we have lost a lot of them in recent years. Alright, if the artists of our Asia Television Limited accept advertisements or other jobs outside, how much of a percentage will we take out when we have a vested interest? Xian Jiwei said, according to the company's rules, 80% of the profits would be taken out, and the artiste would only get 20% in the end. After listening to Xian Jiwei's words, Zhou Hao couldn't help but shake his head. No wonder the artistes of the Asia Television Limited were constantly being transferred to the Wireless Television Limited. Although the wireless hiring was also very powerful, they were still being exploited. Of course, those artistes were willing to be exploited by a television station with a more promising and powerful future. At the very least, they still had the chance to make a name for themselves. We can't do this in the future. Su Lin, go back tomorrow and make some arrangements. From now on, our artistes will take on advertisements or commercial activities outside. We will only take 30% and let them take 70%. Zhou Hao said to Su Lin, also, let the company help them with more business. Also, from now on, we will give more subsidies to our employees behind the scenes every month. The amount will be 20% of their original salary. Li Zhaoxi excitedly said to Zhou Hao, Mr. Zhou, you are so good to our employees. Xian Jiwei and Qin Shisan also looked at each other. They saw the gratification in each other's eyes. Just this alone was enough for Zhou Hao to take in the hearts of the Asia Television Limited's artistes and employees. In the entertainment industry, artistes in the three fields of music and television would have to take at least half of the commission from their management companies. Unless you were a superstar like Zhou Ruinfa, Lu Dehua, you could decide for yourself. Zhou Hao's actions had undoubtedly taken back the hearts of the artistes and the producers behind it. And the supervisor you mentioned, Su Yuan? Who is it? Zhou Hao suddenly asked Liang Jiashu. Qin Shisan smiled and said, Boss, you don't know him. He is an important supervisor on wireless. The long piece of true love on wireless was his work. Zhou Hao suddenly realized, so it's him. I remember him. However, he remembered that Su Yuan did not do it because of the true love that was more bitter. It was another long series that Su Yuan supervised, Everyone Happiness. Compared to True Love, Everyone Happiness was obviously a long series with a nonsensical comedy atmosphere. Both Hong Kong and Guangdong were very popular, and Su Yuan was also good at controlling long dramas with more than 100 episodes. He was a rare talent. Zhou Hao quite liked the happiness of all series that brought the modern era into the ancient costume dramas. Since Su Yuan had come with Liang Jiashu, he would let happiness of all become the work of Asia Television Limited. In any case, many of the actors who played Everyone Happiness did not sign a long contract with the Wireless Television Limited. Shui family's Yin and the Wireless Television Limited only cooperated in the form of a meeting of division leaders. They only signed a contract once after filming a movie. Other than Li Zai and the other top artistes, many of the second to third-rate artistes will come with me. Liang Jiashu smiled and said, these artists from the second and third lines are also very dissatisfied with Wi-Fi, but they are angry and dare not say anything. They are afraid that if they resist Wi-Fi, they will be punished by the cold storage. Zhou Hao nodded. Although the first-tier artists could be the main pillar in the television station, the artists from the second and third lines were also very important. The green leaf actors from the Wireless Television Limited were also very outstanding. To Zhou Hao, who had just taken over the Asia Television Limited, it was a very important talent resource. He said to Liang Jiashu, how many artistes and producers can come with you this time? I've already mentioned Su Yuan and Li Zai before. As for those second-rate and third-rate artistes, there are at least 20 of them. Liang Jiashu said, there are also people behind the scenes. There are about 30 of them. Even 6 of them from the dubbing team are willing to follow me. Xian Jiwei and Li Zhaoxi sucked in a cold breath of air when they heard this. Li Zhaoxi said, well, at least 1/5 of the people on wireless were poached. Mr. Liang, are you really confident? Liang Jiashu looked at Zhou Hao. As long as Mr. Zhou can eat so many people, it will be fine. Seeing Liang Jiashu's eyes, Zhou Hao knew that he was showing off his strength to him. What Liang Jiashu meant now was to tell Zhou Hao that Su Yuan, Gu Tianle, and the others had come to Asia Television Limited because of him. This way, Liang Jiashu would be able to contribute a lot to Asia Television Limited. If Zhou Hao didn't allow him to have a high position in Asia Television Limited, it would cause instability in the hearts of the people. In fact, the fact that Liang Jiashu was able to pull so many geniuses over to Asia Television Limited showed how powerful he was. It was also because his position in the wireless world was still very high. If he continued to develop like in his previous life, Liang Jiashu's influence in the wireless world would gradually be rejected or eaten away by Zhang Lizhi and Li Yiling, who would join him in the future. If Liang Jiashu's influence was extinguished and he returned to Asia Television Limited, he would not be able to attract so many people. Therefore, Zhou Hao smiled at Liang Jiashu and said, Mr. Liang, since you have made up your mind to come and help me, and you have a lot of experience in the field of television, how about this? You will be the director of the drama production department of the Asia Television Limited. Then I will gladly accept your offer. Liang Jiashu smiled with satisfaction and said, now you are my boss. Come, let me give you a toast. After saying that, he raised his glass to Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao also raised his head and drank a mouthful of wine. But I have to make it clear. In the company, I am allowed to compete, but I will not tolerate internal strife. So I do not wish for the situation of factions like wireless to appear in my place. Do you understand? We understand, Mr. Zhou. Xian Jiwei and Li Zhaoxi's hearts skipped a beat, and they quickly replied. Liang Jiashu looked at Zhou Hao with an indescribable expression in his eyes. In fact, he had left the wireless world because he wanted to get rid of the scheming that existed all the time, forcing him to pour all of his energy into these meaningless things. Oh right, Mr. Zhou, other than I have a date with the zombies and the story of finding a home, what other TV series or programs do we need to film? Qin Shirsan asked Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao touched his chin. What do you think about the TV series in Hong Kong? Take wireless as an example. Liang Jiashu was the first to speak. Nowadays, TV dramas, be it ancient dramas or fashion dramas, all follow the path of light comedy. Although the current audience is also affected by this kind of TV dramas, if this continues, they will eventually get sick of it. Chun Shirsan said, as for our Asia Television Limited's television dramas, the atmosphere of light comedy is much lighter. It can even be said to be more realistic and rigorous. Besides, just like what you said before, due to the funding problem, our TV series is a little petty. The scenes and props are relatively old. Even the lights seem to be darker than the wireless TV series. Wireless comedic style. It's not that I don't like it. It's just that, just like what Mr. Liang said, this will always be boring. Zhou Hao said, so, I want the company to produce a new play. What play? Xian Jiwei, Chen Shisan, Li Zhaoxi, and Liang Jiashu all looked at Zhou Hao at the same time. Idol. Zhou Hao smiled. Idol drama? Liang Jiashu, Chen Shisan, and the others looked at each other. Zhou Hao smiled and explained, idol dramas mainly deal with young audiences. This kind of dramas emphasizes not the script zhongli, nor the actor's acting, but the actor's appearance. Not about script zhongli and actor acting? Chen Shisan was the first to ask, boss, can such a TV series work? He was a screenwriter himself, so in a TV series, the most important thing was the script. Zhou Hao shook his head. It's not that you don't pay attention to the script and acting skills. In a television series, the script and acting skills are naturally indispensable. I'm just emphasizing that in an idol drama, the appearance of an actor is very important. This factor is almost the prerequisite of an idol drama. Actually, we're not too unfamiliar with idols, Liang Jiashu said from the side. Actually, most Japanese dramas can be called idols. Furthermore, Japanese dramas are very popular in Hong Kong. Just like the Tokyo love story, it is very popular in Asia. It's just that I don't know if we can also produce idols. Zhou Hao smiled. If we don't give it a try, how can we know if it can be produced? Most of the viewers in Hong Kong's self-produced TV series were over 30 years old, and most of them were housewives. Less and less young people were willing to stay at home and watch TV. As long as we can catch these young audiences below the age of 30, it will be a piece of cake for us to win the viewership ratings. Xian Jiwei said, then Mr. Zhou, who do you think is qualified to be the actor with an outstanding appearance? Zhou Hao shook his head slightly. Including Gu Tianle and the others brought by Jia Shu, I don't think anyone is qualified. That's why I want to find new people to act, and it's not limited to Hong Kong. As long as they are from China and meet my requirements, I'm willing to use them. Although Hong Kong was an international metropolis, Zhou Hao felt that there was always a limit to the number of actors in Hong Kong. To put it bluntly, compared to the entire continent of China and the various overseas regions, Hong Kong was just a small place, and there were not that many handsome men and beautiful women. Just look at the Hong Kong Mississippi, one would know that the more developed the Hong Kong Miss was, the worse the quality of the beautiful women who participated in the election. On the contrary, in China, some of the air stewardesses candidates were much prettier than Hong Kong's Mississippi. But, we are only going to find new people now. Isn't time a little tight? Li Zhaoxi asked. Actually, I've already sent people to find a suitable candidate a long time ago. As Zhou Hao spoke, Su Lin, who was beside him, took out a stack of photos from her handbag and handed them to Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao opened the stack of photos on the coffee table in the middle of the crowd and saw that the photos were of young, handsome men and beautiful women. Xian Jiwei, Liang Jiashu, and the others picked up the photos and looked at them carefully. Zhou Hao said, these people are all under the age of 25, and the youngest is only 16 or 17 years old. And their common characteristic is that other than their youth being invincible, they also have the same characteristic. There's another thing. That is, they are able to attract the attention of the audience. Mr. Zhou, these two people are not bad. I think as long as they are packaged, they will not only be able to make television dramas, but they will also be able to sing or film well. Liang Jiashu held two pictures. On them were two very handsome young men who were around 18 years old. Zhou Hao took a look and said with a smile, these two people? One is called Zhou Chongmin and the other is called Yin Chengxiu. They are both Taiwanese. They are models now. Jia Shu, you have good taste. At the same time that he used a trick to expose the corrupt Taipei County Earth Administration Director Zhuang Yuquan in advance, he also used Xian and the New England Society's influence in Taiwan to help him find those people who would become famous in the entertainment industry in the future, including the F4 who would become popular in Asia a few years later. However, Zhou Hao did not ask people to bring back all the members of the F4. He only found the two core members, Zhou Chongming and Yin Chengxiu. As for the original Zhu Xiaotian and Wu Jianhao, Zhou Hao felt that they were not that important. He could totally find someone else to replace them. Xian Jiwei pushed out a photo to Zhou Hao. Mr. Zhou, I think this is very good. Zhou Hao took a look and saw that the young man in the photo was none other than Wu Zun. Xian Jiwei said, I feel that this boy is very clean and sunny. If he were to debut, I believe he would be very popular with girls. Chen Shisan had also seen many photos. He supported his chin with his fist and said, Boss, the people you mentioned who are suitable for idols can actually be found directly from models. Those boys are tall and handsome, and they meet your requirements very well. I admit that these people have a lot of market potential after being packaged, but how about the script? What I value the most is the script. There's already a script ready. Zhou Hao smiled and took a folder from Su Lin's hand. He poured out the basic books from it, but they were all comics. The cover was slanted, and it was Meteor Garden. Qin Shisan and Xian Jiwei each picked up a copy. Meteor Garden? Mr. Zhou, you mean you want us to change it directly from this comics? Liang Jiashu asked. Zhou Hao smiled and nodded. That's right. In fact, just like what you just said about Japanese dramas, many of them were actually adapted from manga. At this moment, Li Xiaoxi raised his hand. Mr. Zhou, there's one more thing. We all have our own dramas that we are good at, but none of us have tried this kind of dramas. I'm afraid we won't be able to handle it. You don't have to be afraid. I've already found a talent in idol dramas. Zhou Hao snapped his fingers as he spoke. The door of the room was pushed open. A man and a woman walked in from outside. They nodded at Chen Shisan and the others in the room. Hello, everyone. Zhou Hao pointed at the two men and women in their 30s and introduced them to the crowd. This is Miss Chai Jiping, an experienced producer. As for that person, he is Mr. Kai Yuegong, a director. I sent someone to find them from Taiwan. Chai Jiping and Kai Yueshuan were the original producers and directors of Meteor Garden. However, Meteor Garden was the peak of their industry. Before this, their careers had not been considered successful. Zhou Hao had taken advantage of the fact that they had yet to soar into the sky to bring them under his banner. This was especially true for Chai Jiping. Apart from the male and female leads, her role in Meteor Garden's success was also very significant. After Meteor Garden, she had also produced many successful idols, and she was known as the mother of idols in Taiwan. Actually, Chai Jiping and Kai Yushuan's entertainment company in Taiwan also had an underworld background. After all, the mafia in Taiwan was even more rampant than those in Hong Kong. Many mafia leaders even relied on their enormous wealth to bring them into the political world. Now, the value of Chai Jiping and Kai Yushuan had not started to show itself. Zhou Hao had used the new Ian and the Allied Association to make an appearance, so the gangs in Taiwan naturally had to give face to them. They just gave them half the money and sent them under Zhou Hao's banner. By the way, Jiashu, I want you to take note of a few people for me. Zhou Hao turned to Liang Jiashu and said, one is called Lin Feng, and the other is called Wu Zhuaxi. I want you to help me find them and convince them to become the artistes of our Asia Television Limited. Among the young generation of artistes, Zhou Hao was more optimistic about Lin Feng and Wu Zhuaxi. Of course, he wanted to make the first move before they made their debut and signed the wireless contract. Liang Jiashu nodded. Actually, I've been paying attention to some new people recently. I saw a girl with great potential on the street a few days ago. I originally wanted to recommend her to attend this year's Hong Kong Miss so that she could enter the entertainment industry. Who knew that she said that there was a film company looking for her, and she had already signed an appointment with the film company. Sigh, what a pity. I'm very confident in this girl. If she were to participate in the Hong Kong Miss competition, I can guarantee that she will definitely enter the top 3. Zhou Hao smiled and took out a photo and passed it to him. Jishu, is the girl you were talking about her? Liang Jiashu was shocked when he saw the girl in the photo. She. Could it be that the film company you signed with is your Polar North Star? Zhou Hao smiled and nodded. That's right. It was also I who told her not to participate in Miss Hong Kong. He suddenly laughed coldly. I know about your wireless Miss Hong Kong. The top 3 were all reserved by those wealthy people. This kind of phenomenon was common in many beauty pageant activities. It was even the same when Liang Xiaobing participated in the Hong Kong Mississippi. It was just that she had the protection of her uncle at that time, so she was not touched by those people. Mr. Zhou, I am no longer a wireless person. Don't drag me in too. Liang Jiashu said helplessly. And the girl they were talking about was the future leader of Wireless Television Limited, Hua Dan, Sherman. According to the development of her previous life, she was the one who joined this year's Hong Kong Misses, and Zhou Hao knew her value. So he sent someone to sign her off, and even the Hong Kong Misses didn't let her participate. The reason why Zhou Hao spent so much effort to sign up for Shi Sherman was because he wanted to film the classic Moonlight on October 5th from his previous life. Shi Sherman had created a corner of good luck in the movie, and no one was able to surpass it for a long time. Now that Matsue had come with Liang Jiashu, and Zhang Zhilin hadn't signed a long contract with the Wireless Television Limited, it wouldn't be difficult for Zhou Hao to gather all of them. Of course, Shi Sherman's acting skills were still a bit rusty, so Zhou Hao wasn't in a hurry to film Moonlight on October 5th. He wanted to let Shi Sherman play some supporting roles in other TV dramas to hone her skills. Mr. Zhou, we need time to film these dramas. How are we going to deal with them before the dramas are completed? Li Xiaoxi asked Zhou Hao. It's very simple. We can use them to buy dramas. Zhou Hao smiled and said, I don't know. Have you guys ever heard of the popular movie called Pearl Gage that is currently being filmed in the country? Do you like this video? Let me know in the comments below. And remember to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to stay updated. See you soon.